Hey, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
And Happy New Year's Eve to everyone. Well,
Yeah.
that's when we're recording
That's
it.
when we're recording
so,
it.
It'll probably be
soon.
uploaded later than that, but whatever.
You won't hear this recording till next year.
Woo! Greetings from the world of tomorrow. Well, I guess it's
Yesterday.
Whatever.
Yesterday.
Yeah, but that's a...
Oh,
less
back when
impressive.
Trump was president. And
Yeah, and we had finally escaped the horrors of Windows 9.
Oh, it was not.
Yeah, although weirdly enough, Apple did the same thing.
Oh, did they?
They iOS 9.
Oh, man, I guess I didn't pay attention.
No, the iPhone 9.
Oh, that's right, yeah, they went to iPhone X,
X.
which means 10, which... come on, guys.
Really?
So confusing.
What's so bad about 9? Ugh. Anyways, we're here to talk about The Last Jedi. The most recent, at the time of this recording, Star Wars film yet released.
Yes. Episode 8.
Yeah, episode
The middle
8.
of the sequel trilogy. Which some point will have to be called the first sequel trilogy, because don't you know they're going to do another sequel trilogy after this one.
God, I know, but I don't want it to be.
Yeah. So...
I liked it.
You liked it. I am more sour on it than you are, honestly.
Look, after the crap of episode 7,
Yeah.
we ran out of ideas, here's some recycled ones.
Right.
I'm just happy to see freshness and originality in the Star Wars
I'll
universe.
grant you there's some new stuff we saw. That we went to Space Vegas. That was new. Whatever that place was actually called, I forget.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters. You know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And, I thought that the story went well for what it was trying to do.
I thought that the plotting could use a lot of work. My first objection, I'll say in advance, the bit near the end with Luke is the best part of the movie. So if everyone thought, oh, that was awesome, well, yeah, we brought one back my attention towards the end there. But a huge chunk of this movie is spent on this giant side quest where Finn and Rose go off to recruit this master codebreaker.
Are you sure it's Rose?
Well, who else's name was it? What's her name?
Well, you're asking me?
I thought it was Rose. Yeah, that girl that he teams up with.
The Asian chick.
Yeah. Wait, I'm gonna look it up now.
Okay, yeah, see, we are the top notch. Ooh.
Well, we didn't watch it just today. Oops.
Oh yeah, it was Rose.
Rose Tycho or Tico.
I'd go Rose Tico because Tycho is something else, whatever. Anyways, so the movie starts literally seconds after The Force Awakens. And no, we have not been told what the Force was supposed to be doing asleep.
That was just a cool name. That's all they had.
Which, again, that's so disappointing because every other Star Wars film, the title had something to do with the movie.
Yeah, that seems like a basic hurdle to get over. Yeah, not hard to do.
It'd be like saying, our show is titled Rambling Reviewers Jetpack Adventures. Except there's no adventures and there's no jetpacks.
It's like a cruise, except there's no boat and you don't actually go anywhere.
And you don't get to meet Tom Cruise either.
I don't go to Tom Cruise either. Nope.
So, screw you. But this one, The Last Jedi, okay, whatever.
They brought that up as a theme, so that's something.
So, the Rebels are... I'm going to keep calling these by the wrong names.
Yeah,
but, the Resistance
for frick's sake.
is running away from their base. Which, again, this is kind of like what they were doing.
Yeah, we opened it up, I was like, oh, for frick's sake, the Empire, the First Order is bearing down.
Okay, yes, it copies off of it, but, at this point...
And then I was like, oh, at least they're not at Hoth, like some sort of ice world that's all white. And then at the end of the movie, they go to Hoth, and I was like, come on,
That was not Hoth.
No,
that wasn't an ice planet.
But
that was
looks
salt.
like it. It looks a hell of a lot like snow.
Okay, yes, yes. Fair point.
They even had that giant metal door with that same teeth stuff, and Leia giving the command to have it closed.
Okay, we'll get to there when we get there. And the Rebels suddenly realize that there's a new ship called a Dreadnought bearing down on them. Okay, I just thought of this. Like, a bunch of these suggestions and thoughts that I've had over the course of this review, I had, days in advance. But this one, why was the Dreadnought there? Isn't this, seconds or hours after the Resistance has just destroyed the Starkiller base, right?
Well, we're making that assumption based on
Rey's scene with Luke.
So it's possible that her bit is starting a few seconds later, but the Resistance stuff is actually a couple days after that.
Okay, never mind.
It could be out of
then.
sync by a little bit, yeah.
Okay, but the fleet composition in this scene really ticks me off.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to hear that a lot because we're us.
Yeah.
But they're like, okay, we have this group of Star Destroyers and a Dreadnought. And I'm like, okay, Dreadnought, that's cool. Even if I am pissed that they used the name of something from the Legends continuity, and that is not what Dreadnoughts looked like. They were Old Republic starships, most famously used in the Thrawn books as the Katana fleet, which went missing, a fleet of 200 starships, until Thrawn found most of them and stole them for use in his personal armada. The Thrawn series is awesome, by the way.
Yeah, I would have put him into the sequel trilogy. We should do a whole different video on how to fix the sequels, even though they haven't done the third sequel
Hey,
yet.
Sith King and Sonic Sons. How to fix the sequels. Put Thrawn in there.
Done!
No. Okay, well, that solves everything. So the Dreadnought apparently has these really big guns that are set to orbitally bombard.
Which, I think regular Star Destroyers kind of already do
They
that.
already can do that.
Even though we haven't seen it happen on screen, they highly, suggested they could do that, except there was a seal at Hoth.
Yeah, hell, in the old Legends continuity, this was what Star Destroyers were really known for. Going, oh, there's resistance right over there. Kill it from space.
Yeah, if they just tried that on Tatooine, that would have ended the whole plot. I mean,
Well,
I know they wanted on episode 4. I know they wanted to retrieve the plans, but they could have just nuked the plans from orbit. I'm sure they have another copy somewhere.
What if they don't, and that's the only
That's
plan?
the only one. Dang it, Fred! We told you to back up your data.
Well, they want to make really sure that they got it.
Yeah, okay.
Also, I think that someone would notice if the Empire started bombing the shit out of one of their own planets.
They'd also notice somebody blowing up Alderaan.
They did note.
Exactly. They're willing to do things that people will notice because they want to scare the shit out of people.
Okay, but at that point, they have the Death Star operational. So let's get back to the Last Jedi. Okay, so they have this Dreadnought, and it misses the last evacuation shuttles. And it turns out that Poe is there. No, not Kung Fu Panda's Poe.
Oh, man.
I know, right? Although I'm kind of glad that he stayed out of this. No. Okay, Poe is there in his X-Wing, and he's doing the old broken radio gag to people he's talking to on a Star Destroyer bridge. And here's my first problem with this scene, which they openly state, why are the fighters not out? You people are going into an active combat zone where the rebels... I'm going to just keep calling them the rebels because fuck the resistance. Yeah. It's the rebels. It's manned by all the same people as the rebels. They use the same fighters as the rebels. One of the big things in Star Wars has always been fighter craft doing incredibly bullshit things. Like blowing up 2 Death Stars. Or the A-Wing that kamikazed into the bridge of the Super Star Destroyer Executor, which caused it to kamikaze itself into the second Death Star. So you'd think in the Legends continuity, there was an entire ship class that the Empire designed after the Death Star was destroyed by a group of fighters. They said, okay, this is clearly something we need to rectify. So they built this class of cruisers that didn't have turbo lasers, didn't have any capital weapons. It was just all anti-fighter guns.
That's neat. Yeah, I like
that. I mean, they say it didn't get much use just because by the time it was done, the Battle of Endor was just right around the corner. But still, that is a thing that the First Order, as the descendant of the Empire, should know. The rebels have fighters. They use them. So why is it that they don't have a basic combat air patrol setup with squads of TIEs already boiling out from behind their shield generator pylons and flying in to swarm Poe?
Yeah.
But instead, they see him, they go, duh! There's a fighter! What should we do? He's calling us on the phone! Let's talk to him instead of shooting him!
To be fair...
No, we're not being fair. That is a stupid fucking move. Even the captain of the Dreadnought says, yeah, we should have had the fighters up 5 minutes ago. Why didn't we?
They should definitely have TIEs in the air. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
As far as not shooting immediately... he says he's conveying a message and he hasn't fired yet.
Okay.
So that was okay. Though he does technically commit a war crime if you know how that works.
Yeah, you're not
allowed to launch a surprise attack from the midst of negotiations.
I mean, you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been accidents, but you're really not supposed to
do that.
Like, the burning of Washington by the British in the War of 1812. Technically, by the time that had happened, the war had been over for like a couple weeks. But because they didn't have communications that would go like instantly.
Are you thinking of the Battle of Washington or the Battle of New Orleans in 1812? I thought
both of them were like after the war.
Well, I don't know.
After the war had ended, because none of the British had received orders saying, "Please stop attacking." We ended the war already.
Yeah.
Hell, this was a gag in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah, I was about
series.
to say, yeah. Where the ship takes like light years or years and years to get there because of light speed, and by the time they get there, the war's over. And well, we might as well have a war anyway. We came all this way.
God damn it. Well, anyways, they should have had the fighters up and ready. Admiral Adama would not be pleased.
Yeah.
No one would be pleased. Goddamn, the Cylons had this better, and they sucked at fighter tactics. And their tactics involve send out all of our fighters at once in a ragtag mob.
Zerg rush.
Yeah, basically that's the Cylon fighter tactic. I mean, it looks cool as hell, but still, though. Okay, so, and then they send out the bomb. So, Poe uses his war crime tactic to swoop in and blow up all of the anti-capital ship guns.
I will make a small remark that it was funny him doing the bit.
Okay, it was absolutely hilarious, as long as, you forget that it is still a war crime.
Yeah, that is an odd combination. Movies are weird. Okay, so anyway, he charges up some sort of a boost mode.
Which I don't remember X-Wings ever having, but I'm willing to say, future X-Wings. And he destroys all the surface guns.
Which is a hell of a lot of surface guns if you... Really, one fighter. Wow.
That's.
I know he's an ace pilot, but Luke had backup on the Death Star. Remember this?
Yeah, he had 30 guys, and they all died. Which is actually a theme of this movie, deconstructing all of the heroic tactics that all the other Star Wars films just take for granted.
Right. Yeah, I wish they could do that better, but we'll get into that.
Yeah. So once the surface guns are in there, he says, "No, we have a shot. Send in the bombers to go in and blow up the dreadnought because these things are fleet killers, and if we don't kill this thing now, it's gonna keep destroying stuff."
Right. So they send in these big B-wings.
No, I don't. These are the stupid wings. The S-wings. These are S-wings for stupid. Why do they have these? Look, I mean, it's not like they already have bombers, perfectly serviceable bombers that move way faster than these things, which I could get out and push and they would go faster. Oh, wait! Yes, they do! Y-Wings are bombers! They had these back in the days of the Rebellion.
Yeah.
They are they're not as fast as X-Wings, but they're still faster than these things.
I'm gonna go with, actually, though, that these things, while super slow, have much more destructive power than a Y-Wing. I mean, one of them manages to take out a dreadnought. That is a lot of bombs.
Okay. And again, we have the Empire has the convenient self-destruct button that is easily one-shot.
That was actually unclear to me. Was that supposed to be a self-destruct thing there, or is it just that's roughly the middle, bomb that area, and either way, it blew them up in one shot.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. The Empire has this nasty tendency of putting really important pieces of architecture on the outside of their ships, not protected by armor. Okay, the Death Star's thermal exhaust port, I can sort of forgive that because that thing was ray shielded, so they didn't think anyone would shoot at it.
Yeah. Also, it was the first time they'd built this super complex thing, so there's the one little flaw in the midst of a very giant station is more plausible.
Yeah. Also, the novelization of A New Hope goes into this more. Not only is it ray shielded, not only is the thing only 2 meters wide on a space station the size of
a small moon.
Yeah, it's like the size of Illinois end to end. But also huge. It's a thermal exhaust port, so it's constantly blasting air out at you. But that makes it really hard to maneuver, just like it is to try to move forward when you're walking into the wind. So not only is all of that happening, they packed the trench with guns, and they had Darth Vader manning the defenses too. And guess what? For the most part, those defenses worked. almost everybody except for Luke and like one other Wedge Antilles and maybe one other guy of the original attack force survived. Oh, and the rebels have like the shittiest fighter combat in here because your bombers in space should not be close enough together that they should be able to initiate a chain reaction of explosions. Because this happens.
This does happen. And that ties back actually to a couple things. One of them being that apparently there's gravity in space now. Because they have to like all position themselves above the dreadnought and drop their bombs down. And I saw people online arguing that, oh, maybe the bombs are propelled like by a magnetic rail system or whatever. But then why are they all like on one side of the dreadnought when they could just as well encircle it or even turn sideways and bomb it from where they are?
Yeah, that's kind of silly.
Yeah, so I mean, Star Wars physics
all of the bombing fleet dies because of they find the other Empire dudes, First Order dudes, finally say, "Hey, maybe we should send out fighters." After Poe's already blown up all of the guns. And so all of the fighter escorts for the bombers get wiped out, except for Poe and maybe like 4 or 5 others. Sound familiar? All the bombers die. Oh, and we get to see Rose's sister die, too.
Yeah, I mean, they made that kind of epic.
Oh, they did. I admit, I absolutely loved this.
She had to hit this one button, and she had fallen down, and was, the button was stuck at the top of the ladder, and she was kicking the ladder to make the thing fall so she could press the button.
You know, why don't they just build A-10 Warthogs? Those things are terrifying, and they're fast. I mean, instead of these really slow-moving Slave One, like, monoliths that move through space, stick a bunch of engines on the back of the bomber, go fast, get in, shoot them with the bombs, get out of there!
A-10... Oh, Warthog, the plane.
Yeah, not the Halo. I was thinking of
Halo. I'm like, those do not... You need gravity and land and stuff.
No, not that one. A-10 Warthogs are freaking terrifying. Let's put it this way. The recoil of the gun is stronger than that of one of its engines. They need 2 engines in order to keep this thing moving forward when it's firing its main gun. That is not exaggeration. Right. It's terrifying.
Yeah, so by the way, Poe is all like, hey, we should go bomb the dreadnought. And General Leia is back on her command ship, whatever it is, and says, no, we can't risk it. He's like, yes, we can. And he goes ahead and blows up the things. And then somebody or other gives the order to the bombers to go out and blow up the dreadnought. When, the general just said no. So... What is going on there?
I don't think the rebel chain of command is a really good thing.
It's not not when a blow planned. Everyone's consulting the org chart. They're like, I don't know. Can you order? Just go bomb shit. Never mind.
Go bomb shit. Okay, attacking our own medical frigate. No. Look, I have a stupidly shaped bomber ship. It is moving at 4 miles an hour. I am going to blow up something today. And God damn it, if you're not going to let me blow up the Empire, I'm going to blow up one of these ships.
And you're fine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they successfully blow up the dreadnought, and Rose's sister tragically dies.
Yeah, and then when they get back, I think, does Leia slap Poe?
I feel like she did, but she at least says you're demoted.
Yeah, hey, you insisted on leading an attack against orders that...
somehow went on without the orders being given. But yes, you insisted
on... You got our entire bombing fleet destroyed, most of our fighters are now gone, and you just destroyed one ship. So and we still have to run from the First Order.
And we have, no resources, apparently.
Yeah.
So, he gets demoted from commander down to captain.
Yeah.
So, yay for him seeing some actual consequences for violating orders. That's some bit of realism.
Yeah, I love realism in stories, and,
Yeah, when they do it well. But then we get into kind of what is the main situation for the whole plot. And that is, the remaining rebel ships are fleet... Well, they light speed away from there. And then, Hux is dead, I guess, right? Wait. Whatever other ship, Snoke's ship, or something.
No, Snoke's ship wasn't there, but it came in later, which I'm just questioning.
I don't remember who's on which ship, yeah.
Okay, so the Star Destroyers start pursuing.
Did he blow up? Was Hux on not the Dreadnought, but on a different ship? Did I get that wrong?
No, Hux was not on the Dreadnought.
Okay, so that's how Hux didn't die. Okay. So then they track them through hyperspace.
Okay, this did bug us initially because there's like no way to track through hyperspace, and they didn't really give it an explanation except, oh, the First Order ship just has a thing that can do that now. Mm-hmm. However, someone online has pointed out that in Rogue One, there was an Imperial project on...
hyperspace tracking?
Yes, on how to track ships through hyperspace. So it's not impossible that someone could have gone, oh, okay, let's...
polish that up and make it work.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 30 years.
No, my problem is not that they've invented a new system of tracking. My problem is that our heroes have forgotten about the existence of all the old systems of tracking. They get tracked through hyperspace, and everyone's like, what? How could they do that? That's impossible. I'm like, Leia, do you remember when they tracked your ship, the Millennium Falcon, when you went to Yavin 4? Did you black that out? That was like a major plot point. Are you sure the tracking beacon is secure on this ship? We're taking an awful risk, Vader. This had better work. So, you would think the first thing is to run a sweep of all the rebel ships, or resistance ships, and see if there is a device planted on one of them by like a spy or something.
Especially since they're heading straight to this secret planet that's not on any charts, which, okay, they're headed to a secret planet and they're like, oh yeah, they'll never see us, heading straight for it.
Well, their plan gets a little more complicated than that.
But
in the meantime, it's okay, they can track us, we have no idea how, we won't talk about tracking devices, even though that's canon. We won't deal with the possibility that there is just a spy on board who is radioing the enemy with our coordinates. Even though other plot points highly suggest that should be in the story, it's not. It's never mentioned.
Yeah.
The only option that anyone can think of is there's a brand new tracking radar thing. I'm going to call it radar because it tracks from afar as opposed to a tracking device that's like a beacon, you know, that...
Radio direction and range. That's what
radio direction and range.
That's what radar stands for,
good.
actually.
Anyway, they have space radar, hyperspace radar, and there has to be one of these. It has to be on, one of the Imperial ships.
And then Snoke's fucking ship. I don't even know the name of this thing, and I'm calling it the... Lord Snoke has a tiny penis mobile. No, that is the only thing. Look, this thing is bigger than Darth Vader's.
It's called the Supremacy, so yeah, kind of similar.
Right, like I said, the Lord Snoke has a very tiny penis mobile. Oh dear. Because this thing, there is, at some point you have to wonder, how is it that Lord Snoke and the First Order was considered a really minor threat that the Republic wasn't even going like, whatever, don't even bother going for it. Yet they managed to build a thing the size of a planet. They hollowed out a planet to turn it into a thing that eats suns and shoots those suns at people. They have multiple of these dreadnought things that can kill fleets. And now they have this new thing that is wider than 3 Super Star Destroyers laid end to end.
Oh gosh, that is...
fact is as wide as the state of Rhode Island. When your vessels have to be measured in Rhode Islands, stop immediately. Okay, like, is there a reason you had to have this Ultra Giga Deluxe Super Duper Mega Ship? You couldn't have built, like... 20 other Star Destroyers out of this for like way less cost, way less... This thing must measure refueling times in calendar years.
Yeah. Oh, get my ship ready. We'll be ready for another 6 months, sir. Damn it.
I mean, why do you have this ship?
Well,
there is no reason to have a ship this big because it doesn't really do anything other than have the tracking beacon. And if your tracking beacon is so big, you need to put it in Rhode Island.
The entire state. Yeah.
If you need a Rhode Island to store your tracking beacon, you don't have an efficient system.
Just use one of those things from episode 4, guys.
Put them on a planet and then go, okay, they went in that direction.
I mean, it is a plot point that it has a limited range, apparently.
Then why would you send it out? Why would you build this if its range is so limited by the fact that it's bigger than fucking asteroids?
Well, I meant the radar has a limited range. it wouldn't help you very much.
Well, what's the point of it then?
Yeah, I know.
Why would you... Okay, this thing doesn't work. We're going to install it on the least fuel-efficient vessel to ever exist.
Well, okay, so my bigger problem is generally, like, of course, the Empire has always had giant ships, but, it was more justified when they ruled a freaking galaxy, and you figured they had the right resources to do that. The First Order was supposed to be, like, the runt of the litter or something, and then they have more resources than the Empire. That's the contradiction that bugs me.
What planet is now gone? They had to have strip-mined an entire planet to nothing to build all the shit that they have.
Maybe they used the interior of Starkiller Base. This is the leftover parts.
They wouldn't have to. They wouldn't be able to do that because they need more material for the inside of Starkiller Base.
Yes, true.
Okay. So the New Republic just saw them doing this shit and was like, should we stop them? Nah. And meanwhile, Leia and the other sane people were just like, Guys!
Right. So you could have done so many more interesting things with, say, Snoke's got shady political connections and he's deliberately screwing up the New Republic's operations from the inside.
Yeah, and
or Snoke is gonna be more in the vein of a terrorist organization.
That would be cool.
Than, like, another empire.
And this ship could even fit in because this could be a ship of Palpatine's that he was planning to use.
Oh, that too. Yeah, he could buy. Yeah, a pre-existing ship would be easier for him to make use of than to. Yeah, he just got it from somewhere. I don't know.
Okay, admittedly, Starkiller Base is a little harder to butterfly away.
Yeah, don't have Starkiller Base at all.
But okay, Snoke's "my penis is super tiny" mobile. It's just there's no reason for it. I mean, and we don't even see. Okay, at the end of the movie, we see them dragging a giant ground-based version of the Death Star super laser to knock down barriers and stuff. Which, in and of itself, it seems fantastically wasteful. Why would you have that, like, on the ground when you could just have it on a ship, point the ship down, and destroy the base from orbit?
Presumably they have another energy shield, even though they didn't mention it on screen.
If it's based on Death Star technology...
Oh, what's miniature?
If it's based on the technology to blow up a planet, I think that they have the power to get through a shield. Yeah. It's like, don't worry about the armor-piercing bullets, I'm wearing Kevlar. Okay, let me explain to you how Kevlar works.
Or doesn't, in this case.
It doesn't work like that. It is not invincible. God damn it, man. Okay, so, and what really pisses me off about this is Snoke's ship just has the tracking beacon on it. I was thinking, it has like these banks of the mini super lasers or something. Because in the Legends continuity, Emperor Palpatine had a super Star Destroyer called the Eclipse. It was twice the size of Darth Vader's Executor, and it had a miniaturized version of the Death Star super laser for use of destroying planets. It was fucking terrifying, and it was awesome as hell. What does Snoke's ship bring to the fight?
Yeah, it's rather abstract.
And what really
previous superstars
pisses me off is the way they're shooting at the ships. They fire it, and it arcs in space. It's a laser. It doesn't arc. Lasers don't arc unless there's black holes in between you and the Rebel fleet. Which admittedly would have made a really cool battle where, like, the rebels are trying to stay on one side of the Empire fleet.
We should use that in our How to Fix the Sequels idea.
And then there's, like
lots of little black holes, and everyone's just like,
everyone knows, like, the cool starfighter battles. But imagine, like, a transport ship trying to do dogfighty shit and tricking a Star Destroyer into hitting the event horizon of the black hole and it just getting sucked inside.
Yeah, let's do that near Kessel. That supposedly has black holes.
Supposedly, it's known for the black holes.
Oh, right. I mean, Legend continuity, yeah.
Okay, yeah, Legend. I love Legend's continuity. Why did you make it go away? I mean, yes, because we couldn't have set up the new one with all the backlog. Literally, there's a backstory for... You know the frogs that Jar Jar Binks eats in Episode 1? Those had a frickin' backstory. I'm not kidding.
Okay.
They had a backstory for the blinky light that says part of the ship just got shut off, numbnuts, on Padme's silver cruiser thing in the first episode. I'm not kidding. They built an entire another planet that's like the industrial center for the Naboo star system.
So there's a lot of fun ideas that could have been made better use of.
Okay, but
which better use could have been made anyway.
So how long have we been doing this? And we've only mentioned like Oh God, we've been doing this for half an hour. We're
having fun with this one. All right,
okay,
we'll have to finish it by the time the new year arrives. We'll be fine.
Let's go over to Luke Skywalker. In the event, everyone was like, "Oh my God, Rey is meeting Luke Skywalker," and she holds out Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber to him. That was where the last film ends. New film picks up. He grabs the lightsaber, tosses it over his shoulder, and walks away. And that is the moment I fell in love with this movie. Because right then and there, it's just like, hey, you know those expectations? Fuck you!
Yeah, I know. But I didn't like that it wasn't as well developed as why he's like that as it should be.
Although I do have to say, I love that I could still hear Luke in his voice.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like, okay, yes, there's a ton of problems with this film. But Luke Skywalker still acted like Luke Skywalker, who underwent the sort of thing that Luke Skywalker supposedly underwent.
Well,
which isn't always, like, something easy to do. Like, so many people are like... Could you imagine Pinkie Pie undergoing this journey and then her voice changing because of that?
Yeah. A little bit.
Okay. That's... But still, like, so many people just keep the same voice that they had for that character back when they did the character. It's been like 30 years or something since he last officially played Luke, and Mark Hamill still gets down this older, grizzled Luke Skywalker voice perfectly.
Yeah, no, he is a voice actor in addition to regular acting.
Okay, well, yes, but still, though, it's...
I would have loved to see him break out into the Joker voice while he's messing with her.
Well, yes, duh. Obviously...
I saw a con once where somebody asked, hey, can you do a dialogue between the Joker and Luke Skywalker where the Joker is Luke's father? Oh, look, it's me, the Crown Prince of Crime, and also your father. No, that's not true, that's impossible.
Oh my God, I need to track that clip down. My God, that sounds amazing.
I know, I gotta put more practice
Oh my God,
voice.
I actually have heard part of it. Someone took parts of that and edited it into the throne room scene in Return of the Jedi. Oh, that's amazing. Anyways,
So she tells Luke, hey Luke, everyone you love is in danger, and one of them is already dead in the person of Han. And just in case Luke wouldn't trust her word on it, Chewie is there too, to be like, no, seriously, Luke, everything she said is true. I'm here with the Falcon. Han is sadly dead. Leia is in danger. We need your help. And Luke is like, no. And the movie never adequately answers why he would say no to that. Which bugs me.
Okay, thinking back on it now, that is a little annoying that Luke Skywalker doesn't go and help save the day, but...
Right, so the backstory they eventually give us is that he was training the new group of Jedi, and he sensed in Kylo Ren, who was his apprentice at the time, and I guess just known as Ben at the time.
Ben Solo.
He sensed some darkness in him. So one night while Kylo was asleep...
I'm going to assume he means exceptional darkness, because we all have some darkness.
Yeah, whatever. He got paranoid or something. So one night while Kylo was asleep, Luke stands over him and for a brief moment considers murdering him in his sleep and actually lights his lightsaber. And I'm glad that was a very brief moment, because I couldn't imagine Luke actually going through it. Like, okay, maybe just for half a second you were about to. And at that moment...
I mean, he's got to be remembering, oh yeah, Alderaan. Oh yeah, the entire Jedi Order.
I know.
Oh yeah, Geonosis.
But
all the
if
people
anyone
who died.
was going to do that and have that sort of attitude, it would be, not that he's around anymore, Obi-Wan. The guy who had the experience of raising a pupil and then he turned evil. This is Luke Skywalker, who turned that guy back to the good side in his final moments. This is the guy who would be hardest leaning towards, no, everyone can be redeemed. Right?
Okay, but to be fair, he had an in with the guy he redeemed.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, imagine if it was Rey going up to try to redeem him, you think Darth Vader would give a shit?
No, but Ben is his nephew, so that means something.
Yes, I'm just pointing out that there's...
see both sides of it. Anyway, so at the very moment, Kylo wakes up, and he assumes that Luke is actually about to kill him.
And I like how they show this. They do it Rashomon style.
Yeah, we did a couple different versions of it.
Yeah, we're not like 100% sure which one is the real version. I'm pretty sure it's not Ben's version.
I'm pretty sure it's the last one, because the story seemed to conclude. Okay, here's what really happened. And so Kylo thinks he's about to get killed, freaks out, tries to kill Luke, and Luke's like, no, seriously, I'm not trying to kill you, never mind.
Oh my god, I just had the stupidest theory. Like, the lightsaber's already ignited. Luke grabs it. Kylo looks up and sees him. Luke turns. Dobby the house of is like, Master Skywalker must not return to Hogwarts. And teleports away. I don't know. That's where my brain went. Because Dobby did this exact thing in the second Harry Potter book.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Which is why I was thinking of it.
Point is that he knocked Luke unconscious and thought he was dead. And
Although, how did he not know when your whole reason for being there is you are a telepath who can sense life energy?
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Maybe he just skipped that class.
Yeah, I've never really considered Kylo Ren to be one of those guys who would be into the not murder school of thoughts.
He likes to murder random computer consoles, so...
Yeah, I mean, he's a step up from the whiny bitch of the last film, but that still means he's a bitch. He's just not whiny about it.
Anyway, so Kylo, having thought he killed Luke, went off and killed a bunch of the other recruits. And also...
Why is this continuously a thing in Star Wars? Like, apparently one dark side user is capable of murdering an infinite number of light side users.
Yeah, I don't see the sense in that.
Okay, let's be fair here. Anakin Skywalker took out the Jedi Temple, but he had like a couple thousand guys with guns helping him.
Yeah, those are important.
And yes, Palpatine did kill all of the Jedi that were sent to take him out. But he's the Grand Master of the Sith who's been preparing for this confrontation literally since before the movies started.
And there was only like 4 guys, so it wasn't as big of a... Well, I don't know how many guys Kylo killed. Maybe it was less than a 4-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
Point is, he also recruited some of the guys to his side. I guess those people are the Knights of Ren that like have been mentioned in media, but like never in the actual movies. That's weird.
I really hope they aren't those Red Guard people.
Because they're all dead now.
Well, I was thinking because it'd be like... The Red Guard would just be like, what the hell, dude? You just killed the guy you convinced us to join, and now you're killing us. Oh, thanks. Fucking thanks.
Talk about having a bad boss. I mean, some of them would yell at you, others just stab you with a lightsaber.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, they did kill the guy who they were supposed to bodyguard. I'm thinking maybe that would be a reason to try to murder them, but I don't know.
All sorts of crazy things.
Okay, that was... Okay.
Okay, so the point is, after we do that, Rey questioning him and Rashomon stuff is basically, he feels that he deeply failed as a master and actually inspired Kylo to turn to the dark side, and he screwed it all up. And I'm like, okay, I can understand why that means you don't want to take another pupil, but why can't you personally show up with the Resistance and help Leia yourself?
Okay, admittedly, that's a bit of a flaw in the story.
Yeah, it is. Especially when... And they explain...
I guess it's for the same reason that Master Yoda was like, no, I can't go and help the rebellion.
Thing is, though... And, okay, this is actually... They changed it because of the prequels. Because in the prequels, he's, like, killing people with lightsabers and stuff. But in Empire Strikes Back, you notice he never does anything combat-related. And my headcanon is that's just not his thing. He's a different sort of Jedi, But
I just thought he was really freaking old at that point.
Too. Yeah, you could make that the canon excuse if you like. But yeah, Luke's not that old that he can't fight. He's clearly limber enough.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But, away from planet...
Oh, Octo?
Octo.
Yeah, I think it's...
Planet Octopus.
Octopus, sure.
Yeah. And we go back to the fleet, and...
Okay.
Who's the black guy again? Finn.
Yes, we're going to refer to them by their names.
Dude, I can't remember the names of my cousins.
That's true.
Without listing, okay. Okay, you're Paul. Actually, no. Paul I've managed to memorize. But
okay.
The rest of my cousins, it's like, oh. So why would you think that I would know the name of people I've seen for 2 hours in a movie?
Right. So anyway, Finn decides to flee the... Oh, wait. Well, we should clarify what's going on here. They get tracked through hyperspace, like we said earlier.
Then the USS Snoke is a tiny penis mobile.
the Snoke mobile shows up, and it's like, oh, how do they track us? And now we're doing what they call a stern chase, where the one ship is way ahead, the other ship is, following them, but they're going at basically the same speed. they stay in that situation almost the entire movie. And the idea is we'll just keep doing this until the Resistance runs out of fuel, and then we can finally catch up with them and kill them all. And also, apparently, we can't call in some other ship to show up from the other side or something.
Or make a micro jump to hyperspace to take us, like, within, firing distance of all of our ships.
I mean, I would like to argue that you can't do micro jumps in hyperspace, except they kind of did that in episode 7. But, okay, maybe only the Millennium Falcon can do that? But I like the idea that hyperspace has a minimum range. Like, you have to go at least half a light year because your brakes don't work that fast or something. Because otherwise, like, why don't they use it in every combat scene ever, right?
Yeah, microjump. I mean, admittedly, microjumps into hyperspace was a tactic that the Yuzhan Vong pulled out a lot in the Legends continuity, but again, that's non-canon here.
And the Yuzhan Vong had unusual ships, so that's a whole different technology. They had like living ships.
They were. It wasn't living ships. It was organic creatures that were also ships at the same time.
Right. Okay. Similar.
Well, I don't know. I consider living ship and organic ship to be different for just...
The living one has sapience or something?
Well, I mean, I consider a living ship to be a ship that happens to be alive. So, like, a ship that has an AI guiding it,
okay.
like Moya or something like that, to be a living ship. Organic ships, in my mind, are organisms that happen to be... in space like Yuzhan Vong or the Tyranids, that sort of a thing.
Or Tin Man from Star Trek Next Generation.
No, I'd say, actually...
That was alive. He talked to it psychically.
Oh, yeah, but, like, it had organic parts, but I still consider, like, more metal than flesh to be the limiting factor.
Alright, so now that we've gotten that debate out of the way, point is, they're in a stern chase, and they're going to wait till the Resistance runs out of fuel, and the Resistance has got, like, maybe 20 hours or something, if I recall, until the fuel runs out.
Yeah.
So, wow, they do not have many resources in this trilogy.
God damn, man. You couldn't bring a fuel tanker or something?
So Finn decides to flee the fleet on an escape pod.
To where?
To where? I don't know.
Okay. Part of the reason why I'm upset that they don't do a micro jump is that, okay, according to the Legends continuity, yes, you're going to hear a lot about this, there were rules behind hyperspace that were well understood. You can't make a jump in a gravity well, otherwise you'll basically die. You can't... artificial gravity wells are a thing.
Interditers, yeah.
There's... like other things to it, which is why I'm concerned that I don't know the rules to hyperspace now, because now I don't know what it can and cannot do.
They previously made a gravity well jump in Rogue One, didn't they?
They made a gravity well jump in Rogue One and in Episode 7. Yeah. I bitched about that for 10 minutes in our video of that.
Wow.
I remember that.
Okay.
I'm still bitching about that in every video. Okay, which good news is they didn't make a intra-gravity well hyperspace jump in this film. They didn't do a whole lot of hyperspace jumps in this film, unfortunately. Which I'm like, really? Just. But let's move on to the part. Where is Finn going?
Yeah.
The reason I brought that up is there's no limiting factor, even under Legends continuity rules, about hyperspace jumps here. So they're in the middle of nowhere. Literally the middle of nowhere. They're like light days away from anything.
Well, light hours anyway.
Where is Finn going? He finds it, jumps into an escape pod and fire himself into space. There's really no good way that that's going to end. So either A, he starves to death in the vacuum of space, B, the First Order blows him up because they're the kind of guys who would do that.
I just want to do this scene now. There was another one. Hold your fire. Wait, there is a life form. And they just blow him up.
Okay. Or C, the First Order takes him prisoner, realize, oh hey, this is the fucker who tried to kill Kylo Ren and help blow up Starkiller Base and is a traitor. Yeah. Put him back outside without the escape pod.
Stan gets airlock him.
Yeah, just fire him out the airlock, or dump him in the garbage disposal unit and make sure there's no handy R2 units jacked into the system, or BB whatever. Fucking, I hate those things. So there's nowhere to go. So this makes no sense to me unless he's so scared of everything that he's going to take his chances and just commit suicide.
Although if you're not really counting as taking your chances at that point.
At which point you just take a gun and just blow your head off.
Oh, no, bad idea.
It's about the same choice.
Yeah, it is. All right, so yes, it is very unclear what he's doing.
Unless he's hoping to get...
The only way I can make this work, and it's still not going to work very well, is if somehow the freaking escape pod has hyperspace travel.
Which I don't think is possible. Hyperspace, as far as we know, hyperspace drives need like a certain amount of...
You need a power source, and a tiny one-man craft isn't.
Hell, that's the reason TIE fighters don't have hyperdrives.
Right, though somehow X-wings manage it.
X-wings are much larger than TIE fighters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just thought of them both as single-man fighters in my head.
Yeah, but one is much larger and much better. I mean, yes, in the prequel trilogy, there was ways around that. We saw the Jedi fighters with those hyperspace rings. But I don't think they have those for escape pods.
No. And in case anyone's thinking, well, if you're thinking that we're too nerdy, you're not listening to us in the beginning, in the first place. But secondly, if you are somehow listening, the point is, when you don't have the rules in place, it really screws up the sense of drama. You don't know what's possible and who's taking a big risk and what's, a clever idea, I should have thought of that, or any of this. It's just like, we're making stuff up to the extent that it doesn't feel real.
It's like watching Clark Kent and not knowing he's Superman.
Yeah, not knowing what Superman's powers are. Yeah, or just being like, I don't know. Oh, can you do that too? Can you do... I mean, sure, maybe. Okay. Oh, you can kiss people and take their memories away. What do you know? Freaking...
Okay, that was dumb.
That was dumb, exactly, level. Because it came out of nowhere. Right? You have to establish things. You got to build the rules, and then you can play with it.
Yes, exactly.
So anyway, though, he's about to escape, and this mechanic named Rose comes up to him. She's like, oh, hey, you're like a hero of the Resistance. So good to meet you, because you helped blow up Starkiller Base.
How does she know about that?
I mean, maybe they have a little small propaganda network going on among their crew.
Yeah, good propaganda.
It's not hard. Well, it's not super hard, just like for rumors. Hey, who blew up Starkiller Base?
Hey, it's the only black guy.
It's the only... that too.
Okay, well, there's other black people we see in the background.
Yeah.
And, like, most of them die. In fact, almost everyone dies.
Yes. Okay. So
everyone dies.
She's like, "Hey, Finn, you're a hero," and then she figures out, "Oh, wait a minute, Finn, you're trying to escape." So she tases him.
My biggest regret about this scene is that I was in the bathroom for it.
Yeah. Well,
because I'm not like fond of Finn. It's okay. I keep calling him the black guy. But this isn't a race thing. I just think he's a weenie.
Well, no, that's not racist as well. No, white people can be weenies.
Yeah, I just think he's a weenie and like a quitter, and I just don't like his character. He feels like Ron Weasley, except Ron Weasley at least had reasons for doing what he did. He feels like Ron Weasley from the first book if you suddenly suck him into the body of his 7th book counterpart, and he'd be going, oh fuck, what are Horcruxes? Voldemort's back? Oh shit! Oh shit!
There's a fanfic for you.
Yeah, if you listen to the Bashers, that's and even Ron from the 7th book, he ran away. I mean, he came back, but still. Okay, but not enough about Ron Weasley.
Ron well enough, but
he was okay. He's an okay character. I just like other characters better than Ron.
Point is, she tases him, and then she's got him on some sort of a cart or something, and is just dragging him off to the brig by herself. Because I'm guessing they don't have a very large midship security detail to do that for her.
Or everyone else is dead.
Everyone else is dead, exactly. That's why.
Yeah.
Point is, she's dragging him away, and he wakes up, but he's still paralyzed for a little while. He can just talk, but not hardly.
Yeah, I missed this scene too.
That's why I'm telling you what had happened. And this goes on. This takes like 2 minutes. They get to talking about how. Okay, so first off, he explains why he's leaving. He says that he's not only concerned for his own safety, he's concerned for Rey. And they establish...
No, I'm concerned about the safety of that woman I've known for less than a day.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's movie logic. I've known you for 20 minutes. We are closest friends ever.
Point is, they established earlier that Rey and Leia have these twin beacon things that can find each other.
When did she get that?
Maybe right after Han died? She gave her a hug and gave her a tracking beacon while she's at it. I mean, Ray must have said, I'm going to Octo now. I'm going to go find your brother. Okay, take this tracking beacon.
Why don't we all go to Octo? We got the ships. Evacuate the base. They're going to come.
Well,
and we're going to go there, and we're going to, like, guilt trip my brother into helping us. Here, we'll give you a fucking fighter, because you threw the last one into the ocean.
Yeah. Okay. Point is, somehow or other, he has the tracking beacon thing. Did he take that from layout? Anyway, he has it now, and he's like, I need to take this tracker thing away so that Ray will come and find me and safety and not come find the fleet and danger. Even though me and safety, as we've established, doesn't exist when there's no safety when your stupid little escape pod.
Yeah, doesn't have...
So he says...
At least try to steal a fighter, man.
Yeah.
One of those has a hyperdrive.
Yeah.
Or a shuttle. You can pilot one. We saw you do it in the next scene.
Yeah. So she says that to her as his excuse, and she's like, whatever, I'm throwing you in the brig. And then he mentions, but they're tracking us through hyperspace. That's why things are so dangerous. And then she's like, what? You can track people through hyperspace? That's impossible. And then they talk for like 2 minutes and they figure, there is this one way of doing it with hyperspace radar or whatever. And if they had it, it would have to be on board one of the larger ships. And Finn's like, I'm a stormtrooper, so I know where the power couplings are hooked up.
Bullshit!
It would have to be in that section of the ship.
What was his service record like? I worked on every major classified ship in the fleet.
Including this new technology that has only been deployed just today, apparently.
Okay, they could have solved this if they had established the existence of this. Like the tech that allowed the Fourth Fleet to get destroyed in the Battle of Clockdoor 9.
Sure, Clockdoor 9.
I think that's actually a planet.
Oh, really?
I'm just pulling something out, but if it had been like, this tech exists, we've seen it used before, this is the way that we've seen it
doing,
used.
and we've recently had a breakthrough on how we can deal with that. Yeah, that might be something.
So, he's like, if we combine that knowledge with my stormtrooper knowledge of procedures, we can sneak on board their ship.
Yeah. No.
If they did that would this whole scene would make a lot more sense.
No, there's a lot of So he tells her about this thing, and they're like, okay, we can potentially save the fleet if we get rid of the radar thing. And what we're gonna do then is, hey, Rose, you and I can just go do that ourselves, and we'll talk to Poe, and he'll make it happen. And Rose never seems to consider bringing this up with leadership, at all. And what bugs me there is okay, Rose has this crazy whiplash thing about her, how she feels about Finn. First it's, you're a hero, and then it's, wait, you're a traitor, you're a coward, and I'm tasing you. And then after 2 minutes discussion, it's not only do I trust you enough to listen to what you have to say, but I will also personally risk my life on this mission with you, going against orders, even though she's the sort of person to tase someone when they're running away. It was a terrible contradiction in my view.
Okay, here's a few problems I have. First off, why is she dragging him to the brig? For all he knows, she knows that he's a hero, but a big part of why he's a hero is that he's a traitor to the Empire, so for all she knows, he's trying to get back to his masters. So, why does she not just drag him to the airlock and flush him into space? Because I'm pretty sure that's the punishment for desertion in wartime.
Well, normally there is a court-martial of some sort.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, fuck Finn.
Okay, well, realistically, though, if you can already tase the guy, you don't need to kill him.
Okay, but you're a low-level mechanic, drag him before your boss and say,
Right, well, that's what she was on her way to do until he mentioned the tracker, at which point she suddenly changes her mind about him.
Okay, and second off, what they're suggesting is okay, we can go in there and turn it off. But they're like, okay, it'll be just you and me. So just no Marines, no infiltration specialists, no
anybody.
The Rebellion doesn't have slicers. The Rebellion doesn't have
What's a slicer?
It's the Star Wars term for a hacker.
Oh, okay.
Hacking is called slicing in the Star Wars universe, which pisses me off because they don't use the frickin' term. It's just been established over 30 frickin' years.
Oh, wow.
What is wrong with you?
I thought you meant splicers at first, and I was all like, Bioshock, that's amazing. Anyway.
Oh, I thought you said Spicers.
Or Spicers.
I was thinking Megan McCarthy. I mean, like, the SNL version of Sean Spicer.
Okay.
Sean Spicer. You will not be missed. Go fuck yourself.
So yeah, it's very much a case of the main characters do everything. And we saw that in episode 7, too. Is all right, we're going to land on Starkiller Base in order to do a thing to turn off the shield. We'll have just Chewie, Han, and Rey, and Finn.
Hey,
right?
hey, Han, remember the last time that you went down to a planet to turn off the shield? You had a squad of Marines
like
with
dozens
you.
of men, you know?
I mean, yeah, they don't really matter as much later on. And we don't really...
At least they put up the idea that he had a military backup plan or backup support people.
I mean, like, how bad are they PR-wise?
When you have, like, nobody...
HR-wise.
HR-wise, yeah. Okay, so yeah, and this is weird, too, because later in the movie there's a mutiny, and Poe, like, has this summon mutineer spell, apparently, where, like, all these mutineers show up out of nowhere.
Why would you have that, though? That sounds like, I know, I'll summon mutineers. We're taking this ship, but I run this ship. Yeah, what did you think would happen? That sounds like a spell that would really easily backfire.
Just summon it on someone else's ship while you run the other direction. Anyway, he has mutineers with him, and, like, why didn't any of these people help out with the secret plan that is super important? For that matter, I'm not sure why Poe didn't help out with the secret plan. I guess he was just hanging around
He's
to
like
see
the best pilot, and there's kind of space in between your ship and theirs. You're going to need a pilot.
Right.
And we've already established long ago in science fiction that if you're a pilot, you're also a master of disguise, a commando, a marine, an expert mechanic.
That happens a lot, yeah.
Yeah. Looking at you, Starbuck. And in case you're wondering which Battlestar Galactica, original or in the new Battlestar Galactica, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so he stays behind, I guess, to keep an eye on Holdo, which we skipped over that part, so let's establish this. Kylo Ren is flying in the ships while they're earlier before they get to the stern chase bit, and he considers just throwing a missile down at Leia and the bridge where Leia is.
Oh yeah, Ben Solo, aka Kylo Ren, is Leia's son, by the way.
Right, so he's thinking, maybe I'll kill my mom. And he hesitates, and I was like, you did kill your dad in the first movie. I'm not really buying this hesitation. Like, maybe he feels regret now that he killed him, but, like, the whole idea of Episode 7 was like, no, I will totally kill you, and I'm totally choosing the dark side. And then they're like, nah, never mind, maybe he's okay. And I'm like,
he's a mama's boy, what can I say?
I guess. Anyway, someone else manages to...
this is for making me clean the dishes, Dad!
No! Okay. So, the bridge gets hit with the missile. Leia... I thought she was dead at first. I thought they must have written this
Admiral Akbar is dead.
Admiral Akbar is dead.
Yeah, you know the It's a Trap guy? That was Admiral Akbar.
Yeah.
And the guy had, like... You know what's really sucky about this? Expanded the Legends continuity. Admiral Akbar came back in the middle of the Yuuzhan Vong War. He was really old, and he still managed to mastermind a plot that dealt a decisive and absolutely crushing victory over the Yuuzhan Vong, such that the Yuuzhan Vong literally could not count the amount of New Republic ships that were blowing them up. That was how decisive it was. It took out the War Master of the entire Yuuzhan Vong. It took out millions of warriors, thousands of ships. It was an awesome send-off. And then in the final book of the Yuuzhan Vong series, they get a terrible message. Admiral Akbar has just died of old age. He was surrounded by family. And, you know, that was like, you know what? He fought enough. I'm happy that he died peacefully. And then there's this fucking movie. Oh, let's just subject the water-breathing creature to the most horrible way to die imaginable. The only way I'm okay with this is if maybe he hit his head on something and he died before he had to deal with suffocation.
Yeah, in other words, they wasted that character and it sucks.
Okay, part of it might have been that the guy who played him did die before this film. So...
And speaking of which, though, I when I saw...
Also, Admiral Akbar was really instrumental. He used to be Grand Moff Tarkin's slave.
Oh.
in the Legends continuity. And then when Moff Tarkin is abandoned a ship that was being attacked by the rebellion, well, it turns out that the slave was really observant about all these battle plans that Moff Tarkin was observing and stuff, and learned. And he was like, so when the rebellion boarded Tarkin's ship and were like, okay, where's the Grand Moff? The slave was like, hey guys, guess what I have bad news. Tarkin's not here. Good news though, guess who knows all his access codes? And then he worked his way up to the ranks and he became Admiral.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Story. Yeah. No.
Godspeed, Admiral Akbar.
Yeah.
You knew when things were traps.
This is the only line he's known for.
But he was like an admiral. He controlled a fleet.
Yeah. It was cool. Okay, so...
And now he's dead because...
Now he's dead because just randomly killed all of a sudden.
It wasn't even Kylo Ren that did it. It was one of his buddies that did it.
Yeah.
Okay, my headcanon is that Kylo just force-choked that guy to death afterwards. Just...
Maybe.
Hey, wait a minute. This brings up another problem.
Oh.
Why are they bothering with this stern chase when they're the Empire? They're the First Order. They have to have numerous legions of TIE fighters, and the TIE fighters that they sent in thus far have pretty much decimated the Rebel fighter wings. Just keep sending these guys with missiles and blow them up.
Right. They explained that briefly with, they're flying out of your effective range. We can't support you from this distance.
They meant that with the guns of the big ships.
No, but they also, there was a separate thing where they said, Kylo, like, return with your fighters because we can't protect you from anti-aircraft fire or something. I need to watch that scene again because, yeah, it feels like they should be able to catch
Like,
up.
there should be this wall of fighters moving in and the rebels barely holding on. There's no real reason.
I'm guessing the fighters can't... It would have to be they can't fly quite as fast as the fleeing rebel ships if they're flying in that same direction as them. And they're also limited fuel. So they have to go back to the capital ship to refuel. And by the time you do that, now you can't catch up because it's a stern chase scenario.
Yeah, wait. Didn't that one TIE fighter in A New Hope take a pot shot at the Millennium Falcon and then fly all the way back to the Death Star, which was so further away than Earth's moon because it was really tiny in the distance?
Yeah, that happened.
So doesn't that imply that they have, like...
Pretty good
Did the fuel
reserve.
economy get shittier in between the movies?
It might. I'm remembering an obscure Red versus Blue movie now where they were like, the upgrades have made our vehicles destructible.
Oh my god, I remember that one. It was talking about the changes between Halo 1 and Halo 2, where they balanced things so that vehicles weren't, like...
indestructible anymore, yeah.
I mean, no, they were destructible before. It's just that they were really tough.
Yeah, I don't think they could be destroyed in Halo 1 at all. You can kill the people inside of them. I don't think you can kill the actual vehicle.
I'm pretty sure they could.
Anyways.
So they contact the little...
No, wait. We still haven't talked about the... Okay, so, missile hits the bridge. Leia is ejected into space. And I thought she was dead. I thought they'd written this in because Carrie Fisher sadly passed away.
Yeah.
And then... she's still alive and uses the Force to levitate herself back to safety. And
wait, she can use the Force? Why can't she train the Jedi?
She's, not as good of a trainer or something.
If you're...
I mean, right
if
now,
I have a bicycle that I know will only go 10 miles before it breaks down versus a bicycle that will only go 5 miles before it breaks down, but I don't have the 10-mile bicycle, I'll take the 5-mile bicycle because it's there!
Okay, but she doesn't have any Force adepts to train right now. Rey went to go find the 10-mile bicycle on Octo.
Why didn't she train Rey? When she was there and had... Oh, you want my brother? I mean, I guess you could go find my brother that hasn't been seen in years. Or you could talk to me and I could tell you what I know.
Right, but also they want Luke back. Because we just previously discussed...
Then go send some people! Don't...
They said Chewie and Rey. Those are people.
Send more people than 2 guys!
Okay. Point is, after she survives the near-death experience, Leia is now in some sort of a coma.
Which, okay, I like.
Which is, okay, that's fine. So she gets replaced by Admiral Hogan.
Admiral Luna Lovegood. No, I'm making a lot of Harry Potter references. I've been like on a Harry Potter kick lately, but I don't know why, but Admiral Holdo, for some reason, I just look at her and I go, Yeah, that's Luna Lovegood.
Isn't it because of her hair?
It's the hair, the face. Can you check IMDb? I want to see who Admiral Holdo is.
I doubt she's Luna Lovegood, but freaking okay. Nope. This is the best part of the review, guys. It's when I type things.
And Admiral Holdo, she did a great thing later on in the movie. The problem is that she was terrible about keeping people in the loop or keeping them, okay, General Hux, 3PO, Phasma.
Oh, there, Laura Dern.
Yeah, no, that's not Luna Lovegood.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, she was in Jurassic. Oh, she was the lady in Jurassic Park.
Oh, hi, lady from Jurassic Park. How you doing?
Oh my God, I just thought of the. Well, we'll say you're right. Wait, why did this resistance thing? Why did the mutiny last as long as it did? She had access to velociraptors.
Right.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Anywho, the point is that she's in charge now because everyone above her is dead.
No. Leia's not dead.
Oh, or is incapacitated or dead.
Or incapacitated and dead.
Okay.
Boo, shut up. Okay, so
and Poe doesn't like her very much.
Because she doesn't really. I mean, it's kind of understandable why Poe doesn't like her. She doesn't really tell anyone, "Hey, this is what we're doing."
No, she doesn't.
She just goes, "Okay, we have to go in this direction now and keep doing this thing that's going to lead to our deaths."
Yeah.
But she doesn't give any reason why we should hope, which made me think, "Oh, this is the thing where they suspect there's a traitor somewhere on the ships. And they don't want to reveal the plan too early." But no, that wasn't a thing.
Yeah, no, they never brought that up. That would totally be great. She thinks there's a spy on board the ship, and there's a plot line of either finding the spy or finding the person that we suspected to be the spy is actually innocent or whatever. And then she has to reveal right at the end, aha, we found the spy. And that's why I couldn't tell you, Poe, because I didn't know if you were on the side of the spies or not. And Poe's like, oh, okay, now I understand. Never comes up.
No, she never, tries to reassure people or do anything.
Well, she reassures them very vaguely. But Poe is saying, we're in a stern chase. We're going to run out of fuel in 20 hours. They're going to kill us all. Do you have a plan? She's like, I have hope. And he's like, but do you have a plan? She's like, I cannot discuss any plans I may or may not have. And he's like, okay, I'm going to send people on this secret off-the-books mission to do something freaking useful, because apparently you're freaking terrible.
This is kind of where the leadership of the Resistance drops the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Poe doesn't trust the chain of command, and so decides to do the heroic thing, which we all expect that this is a thing that's going to work, because that's how Star Wars movies have programmed us. Anakin Skywalker can't get in touch with his master. Go with Padme to Geonosis to find him.
I don't know who else went against
Qui-Gon Jinn is like, oh, I have to get the princess to the thing. Let's bet our starship on a race with a 9-year-old.
What we're saying is that protagonists generally pull out ahead.
Yeah.
And the way this eventually works out is it doesn't.
Which I actually like.
I like, except they didn't play it that way. And that bugs the crap out of me.
Okay. I like that they did this in that it's a change. It shows this is a little more realistic. And it's nice to see that things aren't just, oh, here's where the protagonist goes off on their own to do their own thing, and it's better than all the military personnel. Yeah. I mean, the military personnel weren't really wowing us.
No, they weren't.
But at least there's a reason for the military chain of command. Because here's the thing. We hear what Holdo's plan eventually is. There's a planet over there that we've been heading towards. We're going to abandon all the ships and go in these little shuttle things down to the planet. Ships, yeah. They're not going to look for the transports.
And they're cloaked. That's an important detail.
Yeah, I mean,
they have secret cloaks that Poe didn't know about.
Yeah, I'm not really sure cloaks really is the best.
They said cloaks. They said cloaking, and then they said decloaking scan later on.
Yeah.
It's not Thrawn-style cloaking, I know. But
it's not Klingon-style cloaking either.
Yeah. That would have been nice.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's supposedly Darth Maul had awesome cloaking too, but we never see it in the films, so...
He had what, like cloaking on his own person or on his ship?
On his ship, not on his person.
He's like, Darth Maul had cloaking. Like, oh.
Oh yeah, he had cloaking. He had a cloak.
He
had several cloaks.
No, I'm thinking of like Kerrigan from StarCraft now.
Oh no, no. I mean, or the Sung Healy from Halo. Or Harry Potter invisibility cloak, because we can't frickin' stop quoting Harry Potter. Fuck you.
Okay.
So if she had told Poe about this, then they would have gotten to the planet. Everything would have been fine, and we wouldn't have, at the end of the film, spoiler alert, like a dozen people left in the entire resistance.
They lost like 80% of their people.
No, they didn't lose 80%. They lost like 95%.
Maybe it's 95%.
Easily way higher.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but because he doesn't trust Poe, which admittedly
there's no good reason not to trust him with that particular piece of information.
Well, he was just demoted for being a reckless idiot.
He was, but then she does the thing that motivates him to be a reckless idiot. If you have a reckless idiot on your staff, make sure they have every reason not to indulge in that impulse.
Or stun them and throw them in the brig.
Especially because there's a moment there where it comes to a head, and he's like, oh, I see you're loading the transport ships. Because he just walks onto the bridge, and I guess he still has the authority to do that.
And this is the part where I was like, oh, so Admiral Holdo is the traitor. She's putting him on this course that'll lead to their destruction. Yeah. She's just going to stick all the resistance people in those transports, send them out, and then they'll get shot down by the TIE fighters. And then she'll be like, yes, my true master, I have served you well. Ever since Luke Skywalker, you freed me from the shackles of Luke Skywalker's training. Wow. And then, Snoke would be like, you have served me well. And then just kills her for no reason
because he's Snoke.
Because he's fucking Snoke, and that's how villains work.
Yes.
Or have her and Kylo play off each other with her appearing more competent, kind of like a Zuko Azula type of thing.
Ooh.
You know?
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, like she was playing at being an admiral, and she's actually like good at tactics and stuff, but she's confident and stuff, and that would set up a really interesting plot point. But no, she was a good guy the whole time. She just wasn't that great with people.
She was just terrible discussing these things. And so there's a moment where Poe's like, oh, you see that you're fueling the transport ships. That's a really terrible plan. Maybe you're the traitor or something. He doesn't actually say it. No, he does. He says, not only are you a coward, you're a traitor. Says that out loud in front of the whole bridge.
You're right. I am a traitor. Of fine silks and furs! Oh. Merchandising! Yeah, I don't know why I was made admiral. It's like the one person who keeps getting promoted because everyone above him dies. It's like, dude, I was the janitor. Why do you want me to take control of the Superstar Destroyer?
Right.
And meanwhile, all of Darth Vader's like lesser goons are just like just whistling while like doing stuff that's low enough to not get them force choked by Darth Vader, but enough to not get them promoted into his immediate strangling range.
Right. Okay, so anyway,
Lord Vader, in my professional opinion, you should use pine sol on these floors. It gives a much nicer gloss and sheen. You have excellent taste. You will be made Grand Moff of the Outer Rim Territories. And meanwhile, like, Tarkin's just like, the hell, man? Palpatine comes in. My Emperor, Darth Vader I have heard. And I am in agreement. Pine sol does make these floors shine like no other. You will do well in my management of the Outer Rim.
I think we just wrote the next Robot Chicken sketch.
Oh, God. I would love to see that. Tarkin's just like, fuck you, I have the Death Star. It's like, no one's ever going to blow this thing up. This last words, why didn't I go with the pine sol?
Really?
Okay, now that we've gone off on pine sol and how it would destroy the Empire.
Oh, okay. That'd be an interesting advertisement.
Yeah. Anyways.
So, point is, after the break, he loudly declares that not only his commanding officer, but the most senior active officer in their whole military is both a coward and a traitor. I'm pretty sure that counts as insubordination, and you should have him thrown in the brig.
At the very least, stunned.
Yeah.
With stunner bolts.
And then put him in the... You don't just stun him and then, like, he wakes up 2 minutes later.
No. Put him in the brig.
Okay, yeah.
So that way he doesn't, like, enact a heroic, daring escape midway to the brig.
Right, yeah,
because that's the sort of thing that his archetype would try.
That's what they do, yeah. So instead she just has him leave the bridge, even though he's clearly on the verge of mutiny, which gives him all the time and freedom he needs to stage an actual mutiny. I mean, I've never been in the military, but I know some basic ideas here. Either explain what you're doing so he calms down, or throw him in the brig. One of those two things. Nope, couldn't be bothered. Okay.
Okay, so just... And...
So none of that makes any sense.
Meanwhile, on the super secret side mission, they talk to
Finn and Rose, and talk to Poe before any of that happens.
Then they talk to the lady who, for some Maz, who for some still unexplained reason just has Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. Why do you have that?
Or had it previously. She gave it to Rey.
Yeah, she still had it. I said had.
Oh, had. Okay.
Yeah. Why didn't she have like the most important Jedi artifact in the galaxy?
Do you think she was just like mining some gas below Bespin?
Maybe that's what female Ugnaughts look like.
Ugnaughts?
They're the dwarf things that were. Ugnaughts are the workers who work the mines in The Empire Strikes Back in the gas mines.
Oh, those ones.
They look like little apes. Maybe she's what female ones look like, and like she picked it up.
Yeah.
Like after seeing this Wookiee go berserk on trying to throw all of this robot in the garbage.
Now, we did actually see it, though, fall into the clouds, didn't we? Or did we not? Wait.
No.
Maybe that was just...
I mean, it fell down the shaft.
Fell down the shaft.
I mean...
watch this again now. Okay, it fell somewhere.
There was a Legends thing where the thing actually got stuck in, like, a vent or something, and Vader went and recovered it and the hand, which actually led into the Thrawn series, because Joru's C'baoth took the hand and took DNA from it and made an evil Luke clone, and that's how Mara Jade fulfilled her last obligation to the Emperor and killed Luke instead of Luke.
Yeah, that happened.
So back to the Thrawn series. We wish.
And I guess I should have remembered. Okay.
So I really like this next bit because they go to this planet that's supposed to contain...
Well, okay, wait. I mean, I actually have to bring up another objection because there's like one every couple minutes in this movie. They're like, oh, we have to get onto Snoke's ship that has the tracker. And, oh, by the way, they definitely don't have... No, what is it? Poe says, so there's a radar thing on that ship. Okay, well, we'll find a way to blow up the ship. And then Finn's like, no, we can't do that. If we blow up a ship with the tracker, then they'll turn on another tracker at a different ship. So, we'll sneak on board this one ship and turn it off. Even though that won't apparently lead to them turning on the other one on a different ship.
Or a different portion of this ship. This ship's the size of Rhode Island.
So, I mean, apparently, the best theory I got from online was people saying maybe if you have multiple radars operating at once, they interfere with each other. So, operating procedure is to only turn one on at a time. And if one ship blew up, you would obviously turn on the other one. But it's all very vague and happens very quickly.
Okay, the best excuse that I can think of is that they have multiple of these. It's just that they need to work in a relay system, like a net.
Yeah.
And like if the main one gets turned off,
power loss at one of the terminals will allow the ship to leave, type of thing. Quoting episode 4.
Well, no, not quite. It's more of it's a computer thing if it needs all of these.
Oh, it's like a triangulation thing.
Yeah. So like it's trying to triangulate a point when you only have one point.
Right, though that would make the blow them up plan also work. So we need a way in which blowing it up doesn't work, but secret commando mission to disable it does work.
Well, okay. Well, maybe that's why they had the hacker to put in a code that would make them think that it's on.
Right. Well, mostly they needed him to get past the shields and stuff. But yeah, maybe he also did this other stuff. Point is, they're like,
hey, why didn't they use the thing to get past the shields and then drop like a shit ton of bombs inside of the engines?
Yeah, I'm getting around to that. So...
Oh shit, the tanks are empty. This thing's just been coasting forward on inertia.
So, they're like, hey, we can't get on board the ship unless we have a master code breaker who can break codes and get us past the shields.
It's called slicing! It's called slicing! It's a well-known term from within the Star Wars universe, and what the fuck is wrong with you that you didn't know this? It was in Knights of the Old Republic, it was in so many games, and stories, and comics. This is a well-known aspect of the universe. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess it's not well-known, but it's like...
Because I didn't know it, but yeah.
But it's still an aspect of the universe.
Yeah, I mean, they could have mentioned it, like, at least once. Oh, we get a slicer. Or what? You know, like a code breaker. Just one little reference would have been nice for the fans. Anyway, so they need someone who can slice through codes.
It's not for the fans. This is a part of the lore. It's like saying... It's like calling it a lightsaber every time, and then once calling it, quick, get out your dangly rods! And they're just never explaining what it is. Oh, they're dangly rods, yes. The dangly rod is the weapon of a Jedi. A more elegant weapon for a more civilized flurgan. Flurgan? You know, flurgan. Like it's...
Stuff on the clock.
You know, things that pass by as, you know, unclocks... 17 jib tools in a Margov.
No, wait. The thing that lets you know. I got that backwards.
God. Anyways. So, yeah, they need to find this codebreaker dude.
Okay. So they immediately go, oh, I know what to do. Let's call Maz. Because apparently Maz is a master slicer / codebreaker. I don't think that was established in episode 7. And they're not asking her, do you know someone? They're asking her, can you do it personally? Because the first thing she says is like, could I do it? Yes, I could, but I'm busy at the moment. And we see that she's in the middle of a gunfight. Apparently there's a drone that's like manning the camera that points at her because it keeps following her even as she jetpacks away. But okay, whatever. Point is, apparently Maz...
That's where our jetpacks went!
Yeah, there they go. Apparently Maz is a master codebreaker and nobody mentioned this. And apparently Poe, who is a captain and recently a commander in the fleet... never bothered to tell anybody, hey, do you know I know somebody who can break the shields on a Star Destroyer?
Oh, and not just a Star Destroyer, the USS Snoke's compensation for his tiny penis mobile. You'd think that would be important to know!
You'd think someone would have brought that up at some point. This is really important information. Didn't come up. So he just calls her, expecting her to be able to do it. She is able, she's not available right now, but she's like, don't worry, I know someone else who could do it. He's on Space Vegas. And there's another thing that bugs me. They cannot be bothered to name this other character.
Or give a picture.
Or give a picture of it.
I mean, this is the same problem that I've seen in a lot of other works. It's like, oh, you'll know him because he's wearing this particular...
Like this rose
like
on his...
all of these description things, they all work on... the fact that people are so OCD they can't dress in other outfits. It's like, I'd love to see it if someone was like, oh yeah, I'm the code breaker, but you're not wearing your lapel. I wore that once. I wore that
one time, and everyone has to make fun of me for it. Gets Maz on the phone. Dang it, Maz! Stop telling everybody.
It's like Romo. There was a freaking fan fiction about Battlestar Galactica where they talked about Romo Lampkin. He's the lawyer guy from like season 3 or 4, and everyone, he's like, oh, where's the cat? Romo goes, everyone talks about the cat. I brought the cat to court once, and that was because I couldn't find someone to watch the cat while I had a court case. And now everyone expects me to have the cat. I don't bring the cat. I don't even like the cat. It's just it's the only thing that's left of my family.
Oh, gets into the backstory of the cat.
Well, I mean, he just gets so enraged because it is literally the only thing he has left of his family aside from... Because the Cylons nuked the home planets and stuff.
I get it.
And he's like, so everyone keeps talking about the cat. It's not even a thing I like. I don't bring the cat to court. I just did it once. And everyone mentions it. I mean, just... Everyone... this bugs me about fiction, is that everyone has only one set of outfit.
That happens a lot. Yeah. So Maz tells him he'll be on this planet. He'll be playing the high roller tables, and he'll be wearing this rose lapel thing.
Because, again, this all depends on people having OCD. It's 5:30. I need to go gamble 3 times at this place, flirt with 2 beautiful women, touch every brick on this wall, and wash my hands 150 times.
Maybe...
Oh, and take my meds.
Okay,
I'm on a new Star Destroyer. I need to touch every one of the engines. This is going to take a while.
Okay, no actual mockery to real-life OCD sufferers. We sympathize.
But we're mocking this tendency of everyone has these set of patterns that they will inevitably follow.
Because really what Maz should just say is, maybe he's probably going to be at the casino, but here's his name, so you can look him up in the space phone book if need be.
And here's his address. Here's his contact information.
I mean, you could almost excuse it that she was busy, but no, because even though she's in the middle of a firefight, she manages to throw in all these extraneous phrases about how he's a poet with a blaster and other things like that. And like, if you have time enough to say
Give me his email address.
give me his email address.
Send him something over the HoloNet. And then we'll meet him. And then by the time we arrive in system, he can send us a message back saying, "Hi, I am interested in your job proposition." Or, "No, I'm not interested in your job proposition."
Speaking of things that we said that we don't know the rules of...
I can do that now with my iPhone.
You can.
And it's a 5. It's like a couple generations behind. I'm sorry.
Speaking of things, where we don't know the rules, not only do we not know the rules of hyperspace, we don't know the rules of HoloNet. Like, can we just call this guy the way we just called Maz right now? Can Maz just give us his space phone number or something?
The way that HoloNet used to work was that it was a series of FTL communications that stretched across the galaxy in a network, which is why it's called HoloNet. It's why smaller communicators couldn't necessarily connect from one side of the galaxy to the other, so they'd connect to a larger receiver within range, and that would beam out the message to the intended recipient through the network.
That's how a cell phone works.
Exactly. It's like a cell phone network. Admittedly, that's where it gets a little bit hazy, because apparently during the Age of the Empire, the Empire really cracked down on HoloNet use, making sure that only on planets or on their ships, trying to keep it out of the Rebellion's hands to make sure that they didn't have the access.
Yeah, weren't able to communicate with each other so easily.
The problem again rises that this is 30 years later. And they did contact Maz, so what's up with this guy?
Yeah, this guy is not in the middle of nowhere. He's on Space Vegas. I bet you they have a HoloNet terminal.
Yeah, or at least a phone. God, Mass Effect is way less advanced than Star Wars, but I could call people. I could call Rex on Tuchanka.
I mean, to be fair, I'd be perfectly happy with them telling me that, actually, FTL communication is really difficult or expensive because space physics and whatever, and they just established the rules of the universe. That's fine. But it wasn't well established. Stuff just kind of keeps happening in this movie, you know?
Yeah, we can't.
And this trilogy in general, yeah.
This guy fucking.
Okay.
I don't trust cell phones. People can hack them. How do you know? Well, I'm a slicer. I hack phones. How do you think I know that?
Well, you think you could protect your own phone, but anyway.
No, he's really shitty at that.
Okay.
Hi, I'm a slicer. I'm not one of those builds a firewall kind of guy.
He's a mighty glacier type of the slicing world. Got it.
Well, I know one guy who's really good at getting past electronic defenses. Cuts over to Kylo Ren. Smashing apart computers. Okay, I think we need another guy. We need a plan B. We need a plan B, Maz.
Yeah, Kylo's got a different type of slicing.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure Mighty Glacier or Fragile Speedster really works there. But anyway, point is, glass cannon. That's what I'm getting for. Glass cannon.
Okay, so they go to... and then
you don't know what I'm talking about. That's okay.
He describes it in all but the terms wretched hive of scum and villainy. And this is why I like Space Vegas, because it is not a carbon copy of Mos Eisley Cantina. Or any one of the seedy underbellies that we've seen in other Star Wars films. It is a high-class place, and it implies that, oh yes, these are still terrible people who do really shady shit, but you don't have to be in like a third world country to get that shit. You can get that at like a high rollers casino.
Sure, yeah. There's a little bit where Finn and Rose kind of stop and watch some animal abuse going on with these not horses and discuss how these are all terrible people that got their money from war profiteering and stuff, and that's all good, except the fleet is about to die and you two are soldiers on an urgent mission and you really don't have time to contemplate this shit. So
exactly.
Please find that nameless master codebreaker. And I thought, because they were not telling us the name, so I was thinking, oh, I get it. The writers are dancing around the name because it's someone we already know.
See, I thought it was going to be Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, that would make some sense.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
That'd be pretty cool. And he'd be the kind of guy to be at Space Vegas. He was never established as a slicer, but maybe he picked it up in the last 30 years.
He ran Cloud City. And Cloud City, canonically, had a very large gaming establishment. It was basically Space Vegas.
Well, there you go.
So it would make sense for after leaving the Empire and... throwing his lot in with the rebellion, he settles down on some other planet and starts up his own, Space Vegas.
Yeah.
Because that's what Lando does. He's a businessman and a con man, but also a businessman.
Yeah. And con and business goes along well with the whole gambling thing. Right?
Exactly.
Rig the slots, yeah.
So you can totally see, like, can't you just picture, like, the First Order busting in, like, we tracked their shuttle here, and, like, Lando's like, come with me, kids. We're gonna go to this private room. He just taps the wall opens up, and they go down to his personal bunker, and they're like, well, I've been waiting for the call to come in for a while now, but, I figured I'd try to live life on the down low. But I've managed to keep my own stockpile of weapons for when the rebellion needed me again.
That'd be really nice, yeah.
Because he knows that they're not going to be able to do shit without him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that? I can't hear the sound of people who haven't blown up a Death Star. So basically, only that weird-headed guy who sat next to me, Wedge Antilles, myself, and Luke Skywalker.
Right.
Everyone else, I am incapable of hearing. Oh, and that's just a stupid line. He's a poet with a blaster. No. He's a guy who shoots things. If he's a poet with a blaster, he'll go like this. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Oh! Because you're both been shot with a blaster! Fuckers!
Yeah. So, anyway. So they fly over to Space Vegas. I should mention, like, every time I turn around, there's, like, another thing to complain about. Because they land... Somehow, first off, they have a hyperspace-capable shuttle. Okay, fine. They have one of those, and they get away from the First Order. And they get over to Space Vegas, which happens to be close enough that they can do this whole thing in 20 hours. Good coincidence there. Then they land the ship.
Maybe there's like a deleted scene where they said, "Oh, we're here," and she was like, "Oh, okay. So I'll give you the coordinates to Space Vegas."
You remember when they did that? They did a scene exactly like that in Empire Strikes Back.
Oh yeah.
And they're like actually looking at the console and figuring out what's close and what's far and stuff. So they land their ship on the beach right outside the casino. And there is actually a guy who says to us, or says to somebody, and thus us, the audience, yeah, I told them you're not allowed to park there, but they were like, oh, whatever, and they just went on to the casino. This comes up later when the local cops, or whatever... Was it even the First Order or just local cops?
It was local cops.
Local cops have them arrested for illegal parking. Can you not be bothered to put your ship in the regular parking lot, which I'm sure Space Vegas has?
And there's no reason for them to be illegally parking.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, you could say, oh, we want to be discreet. You're landing on the beach outside of Space Vegas, right underneath the casino.
And you know you've been seen because a guy literally came up to you and told you. You've been seen. And they're like, whatever. And then, their vehicle gets impounded and shit because they're just that incompetent.
No, it doesn't get impounded. They just leave it there. They just go to arrest them, and they blow it up when they try to...
Right, yeah, that kind of impounded. That's right.
Yeah, that's not really impounding so much as blowing it the fuck up.
That's more like pounded rather than impounded.
Yeah.
So, they keep asking for Master Codebreaker, and they have to keep saying that out loud because they don't know his name. And then they find him... They see him, like, across the room, and then they get arrested, and he never has any role at all. He never does anything. Oh, okay. And then they get thrown into prison, where they meet, by complete coincidence, some other guy who can also break through the codes that get you onto the biggest starship in the galaxy.
I mean,
how many of these people are hanging around? Like, is this just a hobby that people take up to be like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm a little bored with making model planes. I'm gonna learn how to break into the biggest starship in the galaxy. Like, this is like really common knowledge, apparently.
Oh, it runs on Windows 5. Oh, okay.
Oh, man. Or it runs on Windows 9.
No. Well, yeah, the First Order would use Windows 9.
Yeah, it would be evil enough to do that, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, admittedly, if you're here, you're scamming really rich people who sell military equipment to the First Order.
That's true.
So there would be at least a reason why he would be in prison here when, there's at least some precedent for him being familiar with the First Order's communication systems.
Yeah, that's true. But this movie is disturbed by the speed of its plot. You could have made a different plot in which they spend a few weeks looking for the right person they need, and it would be more plausible that they eventually found him. This is all within 20 hours, including travel time. Mm-hmm. So he happens to be right there. And immediately gets to talking to them, and he's like, yeah, sure, I can help you out. And then he busts them out of prison. And they help bust some child slaves out of prison.
They don't bust the child slaves
true.
out.
No, yeah.
They leave the child slaves.
They actually do. They talk to them is what I talk. Yeah. They're like, hi, we're from the resistance. They're like, oh, that's super cool, we'll help you. And then they leave them there. Because apparently leaving slaves in slavery is a major theme in Star Wars. Let's leave Shmi on Tatooine. Let's leave these kids on Space Vegas.
Why didn't, Palpatine, wanted to get Anakin on his side. Why didn't he say, here's $20, go buy your mom?
I'm going to go, actually, though, with he needed...
Hey, Padme, you have access to all of Naboo's accounts, right? Can you buy my mom?
Right. That would make a lot more sense, having Padme do it. As far as Palpatine, I could give the excuse that he wants Anakin to be conflicted, because that's what brings you to the dark side.
Yeah.
Right? But, yeah, actually, in my headcanon of how to fix the prequels, Palpatine has Shmi killed and makes it look like it was the Jedi's fault. There's a whole thing there.
Mm-hmm.
So, point is, yeah.
Because CSI doesn't exist in Coruscant.
What?
Because CSI doesn't exist on Coruscant.
CSI, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No sense.
There's a horse chase in a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
Okay, it was fun.
It was pretty fun, but the rest of the plot was not adding up. And then they encounter this slicer guy his name is DJ, by the way. And he's like, I stole this ship for us to escape on, and BB-8's with me. And like, oh, okay, cool. I guess we'll escape now. And we'll go back to the fleet. And this guy is just pretty chill about breaking onto this incredibly...
He's a nihilistic douchebag, and I hate nihilistic douchebags.
Yeah, that too. At least they didn't try to really paint him as a hero, especially in the end. But
maybe they start to paint him as this guy could be a roguish scoundrel type of guy.
Yeah, and then he ends up betraying them. While they're en route, Poe radios Finn, because they can do that, and says, hey, Holdo's crazy, definitely go ahead with the plan to disable the hyperspace radar.
Why did he need to do that? They would have done that anyway.
I mean, I guess, I don't know, wanted to inform them that I'm staging a mutiny, just so you know when you get here. If Holdo's not around, there's a reason for that. Don't go around asking for Admiral Holdo, okay? That's kind of uncouth now. What's the word for that? Anyway.
Couthy.
Couthy. But freaking Strong Set is plain couth.
Yeah. Okay, so...
So, because he raised that conversation, though, DJ overhears this idea about the transports, but not about the cloaks, because Poe doesn't know about the cloaks at that point. DJ apparently figures out the cloaking bit all on his own, because they successfully sneak on board the ship, and then they get into uniforms, and
they fly into the engine of the USS. Snope has the tiniest penis in the universe mobile. By flying through the engines. Okay, I'm going to just point out there's a flaw in this plan. What if they turn that on? I mean, I can't be the only one who thought, hey, maybe we should go up to an airlock or something and then hack that to get on board. And then, I mean, this thing is the width of Rhode Island. They can't all be manned.
Yeah.
There's probably entire civilizations of hobos who have been living in here since the Old Republic.
Oh my gosh. That would be amazing.
I mean, the Death Star was huge. This thing is bigger. I mean, not bigger than the Death Star, but seriously, people. This thing is too fucking big. Okay, so around this point in time, we've been skipping over it. Luke tries to talk to Rey. Or other way around. And tries to teach her a little bit about the Jedi stuff and why he's not teaching the Jedi stuff. And then he says, "You have great darkness in you," and then doesn't elaborate. Oh, thanks. Thanks for telling me that I'm apparently evil inside of me, and they're not giving me any tips on how to control that. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, Luke, what happened when Darth Vader implied that he'd turn your sister to the dark side? Oh, yeah, you went nuts and started smacking him with your lightsaber, going berserk until you cut his arm off.
Yeah.
That was a thing, wasn't it? Hey, maybe you should go and teach Rey how to not do that, because you've had a lot of time to meditate out here.
Yeah.
And then Rey goes to this place she saw in her vision, and it's not the cave of the dark side.
It's a cave with mystic force things going on.
Yeah.
And has what is all by itself kind of a cool scene.
Oh my god,
she was
I love
leading
this
somewhere.
scene.
Yeah. So she's in this weird place where there's like 100 copies of her, and they're all like off by like half a second from each other.
So like she snaps her finger, and then like the one behind her snaps and snaps and snaps and snaps and snaps.
Yeah, or it goes like four. It's like interesting because we had one Rey who was positioned in camera to be like the main one, but these actions start from behind her, so you can like predict what she's about to do, and you weren't sure how cause and effect was working, you know.
And it was really cool, and it was if this was like if spirituality was a bigger part of the film, this would be a great scene. But
yeah, so she's leading up to how she's getting up to the front of the line, and she's gonna like come to discover something, and there's these. She says, "I want to know who my parents were," and she sees this sort of glass in front of her and wipes out the cloud of glass, and it's just her. And then that was it.
Sorry, I'm just thinking in the non-MCU Incredible Hulk film. There's a scene very similar to this where Bruce Banner wipes away the glass on his mirror because it's fogged up, and he sees the Hulk behind there. And then the Hulk scowls at him and says, "Puny Banner," smashes his arm through the mirror and drags him in. And then the Hulk wakes up, falling out of the sky after he's been launched into the sky for some reason. So I'm just like, that would be amazing. Like, she wipes it away. It's the Hulk. Puny Jedi.
Oh,
Wham, 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 wham.
Yeah, both are owned by Disney now. So.
Oh my god, please, yes.
More
Incredible Hulk.
Goodness. Okay. So, point being, she's narrating this whole thing, and you think she's telling Luke, and she's actually telling Kylo Ren, which we forgot to tell you. She and Kylo Ren just developed this weird
psychic bond, even though they met like once before.
Yeah, and
which is kind of cool because it's clear they can see each other, and they're initially freaked out.
Yeah.
So like he tries to mind control her, do the mind trick on her, and he's like, "Oh, he's not here." So he runs out of his room to try to see if she's there in the hallway. And it's like, okay, yeah, that is kind of what would happen if you're not really expecting all this shit.
Yeah, she shoots a hole in a wall because she's shooting at him.
Or she hates the wall.
Oh, she hates the wall.
Fuck you, wall!
Anyway, so I don't know what they're trying to do here. It's like we want Kylo and Rey to bond in some way, but I didn't see that working at all.
Yeah. You just killed my father substitute in the last film, which was like, what, a day and a half ago?
Yeah, maybe a week at most, you know.
Let's see. You've caused me untold amounts of suffering and pain, and you're a douchebag. Oh, you had me tortured. You had me tortured.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
But she didn't.
No,
I bet she did because she doesn't mention this.
Yeah, that made no sense. There's this idea of like, oh, maybe Luke mistreated him, and there's the whole Rashomon thing we mentioned. You know, maybe he's misunderstood or something. And I really feel like they're playing with a different character there. Like, okay, let me give you a different version of Kylo Ren. He ran away from his training years ago.
And accidentally knocked over like all the candles and stuff, and that's why everything's on fire.
Or just
it's just that everyone was either asleep or meditating, or they hadn't yet. That wasn't the part of the fire safety plan. Wasn't part of the Jedi training they'd gone over yet. And Luke was like, "Why wasn't that day one?" And like Yoda is looking for the afterlife. Going, God damn it! This is why we failed.
Okay, yeah. But no. Let's say Kylo had been trained by Luke and maybe asked a bunch of questions about Vader, and it was kind of vaguely suspicious, and then he ran away one day.
Hey, you know your famous dad who murdered everyone in the galaxy? Yeah, I want to know more about him. This is suspicious.
Well, you know what I mean.
The greatest historical figure in the last half century? I don't trust why you want to know more about him.
You know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I know.
All right,
but I mock you because I love you.
I get it. But let's imagine he just ran away, and there's been rumors and some misinterpreted evidence or something that he's been working for Snoke, right? But we haven't seen it happen on screen. So then Rey meets him or develops this psychic bond or something, and eventually it turns out, oh, he's been totally misunderstood. He's actually a good guy. He's not turned to the dark side. Luke has been being paranoid about this. That is not the character that had been established in Episode 7. Episode 7 is walks straight up to Han and kills him in cold blood. And previously tortures Rey.
Oh, and was crying over the helmet of Darth Vader, which he apparently grave robbed from Endor, going, I feel the urge to be good. Oh, this is so horrible.
I mean, you could say they were promoted the idea that he might have some goodness in him, but they did such a sloppy job of it that I just can't connect with this guy at all, hardly.
And we don't want to connect with this guy.
Yeah, because he murdered Han. This is, the redemption of Darth Vader would have been a much harder thing for the audience if he had, let's say, previously murdered Han or Leia or someone we cared about.
Yeah.
He froze Han in carbonite, but we got him out, so it's okay. We feel okay for a redemption angle. Mm-hmm. Implicitly discounting all the other people he's presumably killed. But the point is, once the audience knows somebody, it means more to them, generally.
Ugh.
Okay, so, the whole story comes out, and finally Rey is like, well, frick this, if you're not going to help, I'm just going to go help the Resistance on my own. So she leaves in the Falcon to go do that. And how does she do that? Okay, this is interesting. They're on the Falcon, and she has Chewie eject her in some sort of escape pod that's the size of a coffin.
And the shape of a coffin. And the appearance of a coffin.
Which might be a bad sign.
Yeah, the Star Wars universe is apparently not meant for either claustrophobics or people who are afraid of giant objects. No. It's okay, we have a ship the size of Rhode Island, but your escape pod, you might be able to scratch your ass if you really work at it.
Okay. She tells Chewie to, leave the area and then come back on her signal. She gets picked up because she just assumes they're not going to shoot her down.
Which is a stupid plan. You're trusting the people who have allied with the dark side to not kill for the sake of killing.
Mm-hmm. Granted, that's how it worked with Luke surrendering himself in Episode 6.
Also,
but Luke had more connection with Darth Vader. I mean, at least just because of the father bond.
And plus, Luke wanted to be captured, so...
Well, right. But he was assuming they would take him alive and not kill him, which is the part we're focusing on now. Anyway, she does get taken alive, get taken to Snoke's throne room. Snoke is wearing a bathrobe.
Also,
a tacky gold bathrobe.
Yep. And he's painted his entire room red for some reason.
He just likes that color. I don't know. And he's like, ah ha ha! My evil plan is in effect. You see, I'm the one who set up the psychic link between you and Kylo.
Question. Why?
Because I believed it would tempt you into coming to face me, and now you've been captured. And we'll turn you to the dark side.
You've tried to kill everyone that I've known. You were the one who who ordered Starkiller Base to be constructed, and you blew up the capital of the galaxy and most of the military. You're probably responsible for at least one genocide that we know of. Mm-hmm. So I have a question. Why did you think I needed extra motivation to try to come and kick your ass? Yeah, this is like Doctor Doom going, yes, I knew you would come and face me. Everyone's like, yeah, 'cause you're Doctor Doom. Facing you is what we do. That is literally my job. So I kidnapped your infant son, Reed Richards. I was coming anyway. You threatened to blow up the moon. Did you think that I wasn't gonna... Did you think that wasn't motivation enough? I mean... Why?
It's also vague. I mean, it's weird because, you could... As far as the idea that he could turn her to the dark side... Granted, Palpatine was doing the same kind of concept with Luke, but it felt like it made so much more sense with Luke, even though Luke was never evil. Like, also, Palpatine was in a position of supreme power, and he's felt like he could totally fail at that, and it wouldn't matter.
And also, Palpatine had, like, what, a century behind him to practice being both a politician, skilled manipulator, skilled liar, skilled Sith master, overlord of the Sith.
Yeah.
He was, like, really good at what he does. We had 5 films before that. I mean, since the prequels came out, which establishes this Palpatine guy really knows what he's talking about and is fully capable of turning Jedi to the dark side of the Force. This Snoke guy, you managed to turn a whiny emo and make him a whiny emo with a grudge against people.
And why?
Boy, you really showed you could manipulate a whiny teenager. That's skill? Okay, now with my whiny emo teenager, my Rhode Island-sized compensation for my penis, and my planet that's been hollowed out to eat suns, nothing can stop me! Why do you need Kylo Ren? Why do you need anyone?
I don't know.
I mean, okay, some of the Darth Bane books implied that the reason that Palpatine is doing all this shit is because it's not Palpatine who's doing this shit. Actually, there's several interpretations.
Yeah.
The first interpretation is that Darth Bane long ago figured out the secret to immortality by stealing the bodies of powerful Force users and transferring. That's why the rule of 2 exists. Not only to preserve the Jedi the secrecy from the Jedi, but to always provide a new host body for Darth Bane to transfer into. Now, based on which theory you go by, either Darth Bane is Palpatine, and he was hoping for Luke Skywalker to be the next host because Vader was unsuitable due to all the cybernetics, and Jedi need to have a connection with the Force. Or Palpatine accidentally killed his master before it was time for Bane to take his body, and that's who Darth Plagueis the Wise was. His master. And then Palpatine was like, oh shit, well, at least I pieced together enough of the technique that I'm going to try to take over someone else's body. Hell, in the Legends continuity, that's what he does. He body surfs from clone body to clone body until Han Solo shoots the last one.
Yeah, honestly,
but Snoke, we don't have any backstory. We don't know if he's a Sith. He's not a Sith because apparently he's
no. He uses the Force anyway. Call it that what you want.
But he's not. User. But like Kylo Ren says, "Oh, we're not Sith anymore. We're not Jedi anymore. We're just this new generation. We're going to destroy the old one." But see,
it's confusing.
So if you're a dark side user who's not the Sith, how did you survive in a galaxy where Palpatine existed and routinely went out of his way to crush any form of dissent, which would include fellow dark side users? Where did you come from? Why do you exist? And why are you doing any of this? What is the point of Snoke? What is the point of the First Order?
I don't know. I mean, you got a tyrant wants power and all that. Which, granted, in the original trilogy before the prequels came out, Palpatine didn't have any backstory then either. But the movie was so cool. The trilogy was so cool that you could just buy it. That he was just this amazingly powerful figure, and had been around for quite a while, and it was kind of mysterious where he came from.
Mm-hmm.
Snoke came out of nowhere somehow, and then goes back to nowhere come this movie, because Kylo suddenly decides to kill Snoke.
For no reason.
And yeah, I don't know why he did that.
I mean, like, you could argue the rule of 2, but they're not Sith.
Right? You could argue he wants power, I guess, but he's been pretty obsequious. Is that the word before? Snoke before. Why he suddenly changed his mind, I don't know. Snoke did, make fun of him early in the movie and mocked him.
But we make fun of him.
Yeah, he is not killing us. Oh no, here he comes now.
Curse you, Moss, for taking our jetpacks!
It just felt so weak. And then he asks Rey to join him. And I'm not sure why he thinks Rey would want to do that. And then Rey says no, and now suddenly he hates Rey. and he's gonna go try and kill her. Just like 3 seconds ago, you wanted her alive to join you.
And then he tries to have Kylo kill him, and he's like monitoring his thoughts to see.
Wait, what? No, I'm talking to Kylo after Snoke is already dead.
Oh.
Kylo, like.
Oh no, I thought we were still talking about Snoke.
No, sorry, yeah, Snoke.
I'm sorry, the villains are just so generic in their evilness
yeah.
that you can just throw in any name. So Doctor Doom decides to... No, I know, I'm sorry. That's rude comparing Doctor Doom to Snoke. It insults Doom.
Yes.
Okay, so Kylo kills Snoke, and Snoke just kind of just dies.
It did not feel like the epic moment it should have been.
Which is fortunately made up for by the next scene where they have to duel the Red Guards. And this was probably the best fight scene in the whole movie. That was
some great lightsaber choreography.
Plus, whole new styles of lightsaber combat that have never really been explored.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought Grievous was really innovative with, like, 4 arms. But these guys had, like, pikes that were lightsabers and, like, chain whips with lightsaber chains. And it was so cool, and we're like flipping, and you had Kylo and Rey working together, and that lasted right up until the end of the fight, and then they're like, "Well, shit, now what?"
Yeah, I think again it was good fight choreography. I just wish we had earned it from a story perspective. I wish this meant a lot to me because I cared about Snoke or I cared about Kylo, and I care somewhat about Rey, but I'm just not sure what's going on with her, because nothing in her world ever seems to make sense.
I do like that they basically said, oh yeah, you know who your parents were? They were nobody. So they just kind of threw that away, just saying.
Yeah, but you could have done much more with that. You could put Rey through a crisis of her personal faith in herself. And, having hoped that, Luke was secretly her father, or that somehow she had a great lineage, and that was very important, and that's how she knew she could have faith in herself. And then it turns out, never mind, you don't have that, and she goes through a personal crisis and then emerges from it with, you know what, I'm strong enough anyway. And they didn't really hit that note. It was like, hey, by the way, okay, plot point, and moving on.
But it's still fun in the moment, okay? I liked it because it basically said it doesn't matter who your parents are.
Yeah.
What's important is what you do and what you do with your life. Sure, Luke and Leia were important because of this. But that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, it's a nice theme. But Kylo just, mentions it, right? He's like, yeah, you've probably known all along, haven't you? Your parents, they were nobodies. They were scrappers or something on that...
Junkers
on Jakku.
On Jakku.
Does Kylo actually know this, or is he making that up? Because, does he have a dossier on her or something?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Wouldn't surprise me, but, he doesn't show her, here's the picture. Here's what they look like. Mm-hmm. Any of that. So I wasn't sure if he was saying, I know this because of facts, or I'm just going to say that as a way of insulting you and mocking your hopes and dreams of having, interesting parents.
Yeah.
So that needed to be clarified for me.
But the truth is, your parent... My father killed your parent... I mean, no. Hang on. My father killed your father. Wait, who was my... Wait, no. My mother killed your father. But who is my... Jabba the Hutt is your father. I just thought of that. Bring me Solo and the Wookiee. Okay, I love Jabba the Hutt. He has no redeeming features, but I love him to death nonetheless. He's just so stupid. Yeah.
Okay, so at this point in the movie, I'm getting fatigued by all the stuff that doesn't make sense.
Nah, me too.
And then she flies off to...
Somehow.
Yeah, I forget how that happened even.
Yeah, me too.
After a week, it's been a week since we saw the movie. And I don't know, there was a thing.
Meanwhile,
she got away.
Meanwhile, the super secrets shut down the radar thing plan has gone tits up because... Well, it turns out that if you break into a super huge ship filled with robots and soldiers, they're gonna notice when something goes wrong.
Right, and DJ betrays them. I'm not sure if he betrayed them before or after they got caught.
I'm thinking it was after, because that seems to be in his character.
Yeah. But it could also be before.
I was really thinking that, he would be going, sorry, it's just business. Then Phasma would go, I agree. And then, like, he falls over with a crater in the back of his head, and she says, "So was that."
Nah, it could be.
But
anyway, so
I mean, wouldn't that fit for Phasma's character and for, you know, how this whole thing was thus are rewarded the traitors and...
Yeah, but she was mad at the people who betrayed her. I don't know if she's mad at traitors in general.
Also,
like
who the fuck is Phasma?
Just some lady with fancy armor.
Yeah, she got popular. There's like a comic series and a book, and I don't really know anything about her.
She might be a more interesting character in the comics for all I know, but...
Yeah, but she's not here.
Nope. So... Yeah, DJ makes a deal with the Empire to be like, run a decloaking scan, and then you'll be able to find the cloaked transport ships that are currently getting away. Because, by the way, we had a mutiny. Yeah, that happened. And
the mutiny didn't end well because Leia woke up, decided that she was done with all this fucking shit, busted onto the bridge, shot Poe, and, like, dragged his ass to the transports.
Well, and then they explain what the hell they were doing, finally. Thanks, now we know. Poe's like, oh, that could work. Like, he immediately understands it could work. So you could have just told him before, but alright, we erased that. So they're escaping in the cloaked ships, and he's like, we ran a decloaking scan on tip from DJ. And I'm like, can you just do that? You have a decloaking scan? Have you ever thought to just run that once every 5 minutes? Just on automatic?
Yeah, it's...
That would have been helpful. It's not like, he had the secret codes or something that we clearly would not have. It's just we ran a decloaking scan. Just keep hitting that button all day long, man.
Yeah,
There's no reason why you can't just keep doing that.
Yeah, okay. So, and then the rebel shuttles are getting blown out of the sky, and it's like... Oh
my gosh, they're getting blown out of the sky. Which means the entire freaking side quest was not only pointless, but actively harmful.
Which, okay, from a meta perspective, in the moment, I didn't really like that. Because, well, you're watching all these people who are supposedly the heroes getting massacred. Mm-hmm. From a meta perspective, I like it because it's, again, a piece of the deconstruction of the protagonists are always right thing.
Yes, but...
But it wasn't really executed well.
No, yeah, if I may make a Harry Potter reference.
No.
He goes in to save...
I said no.
Sirius...
What part of no don't you understand?
Fine.
No, I'm kidding.
Right. But he goes into, he goes out to save Sirius, and turns out he's being lured into a trap, and because of this, Sirius gets killed rather than saved.
Yeah.
We made a big point about it, like, Harry, you were reckless in that situation. He was like, yeah, it really was. You felt the weight of it. In this, it's like, we set this whole thing up. If you want to play it correctly, the characters who screwed it up, which is Rose, Finn, and Poe, really need to feel remorse Rose, Finn, Poe, and Holdo, I meant to say. Really need to feel remorse about how they've screwed it up. Really need to, no one to trust them ever again.
We fucked up.
And then if maybe they have a chance to redeem themselves later on by...
Holdo did.
Fixing
Oh
stuff.
my god.
Well, we're getting to that in a second. But, even then, she's not redeeming herself on the specific question of... communicating well enough to your underlings and showing trust among... That could be a theme.
Given what she did, that redeems for almost anything except being a Nazi, a pedophile, or a rapist.
Well, okay.
Right. Okay, well, look.
The other characters, at least, didn't have their cool moments to redeem themselves with, and it just seemed like we forgot about all this. Rose, remember, has known Finn for all of a day. And now that she's gotten involved with him, because of that decision to trust this guy, who, by the way... She had tased him before and overrode that sense of distrust or to trust him because she went along with it and didn't report it to his superiors. 95%, you say, of the resistance has now been wiped out. That should stick with her forever, along with Finn and Poe. And it doesn't come up at all. They just move on with the plot. And I was like, then it didn't, properly happen in a narrative sense, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just didn't work.
I mean, you could argue that Finn's later near-suicide run could have been a sense of atonement, but they didn't really do it well.
They didn't play it that way. They didn't play it as, oh my god, I've doomed the resistance, I must sacrifice myself.
This came up as another case of heroes being idiot heroes.
Yeah, it was just vague.
And not as nearly as cool as what Admiral Holding My Beer, I've got this, guys. Holding my beer and watch this.
Yeah.
Okay, Admiral Holdo stays behind on the last ship, this big old Mon Calamari capital ship, and she's watching as the shuttles are being bombarded into oblivion. She decides, you know what? I'm going to be awesome today. So she turns the ship around, points it at the USS My Penis is Really Tiny mobile, activates the hyperdrive, and rams the superstar...
The capital ship.
The capital ship. The biggest capital ship we've thus seen that isn't a Death Star or Starkiller Base at light speed in this awesome moment. It goes totally silent. There's a streak of silver. The shrapnel shreds every single Star Destroyer in the enemy fleet, and the capital ship is just cut into two pieces. It is amazing. And there's a part of me that's always like, yeah, that would work. That would absolutely work. One at sufficient velocity makes bad guy go bye-bye.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. And it could have been done a little better, sure. Yes, it raises the question of why don't they do this?
Yeah, that's my problem with it. Even as it was happening, I was like, okay, I know you guys are trying to do something epic, but again, what the hell are the rules, and why don't we do this normally? And Holdo isn't interesting enough for me to let her have such an epic moment.
Yeah, but she suddenly became interesting as soon as she did that. So I was okay with it, just based on this one scene.
Alright. Come to think of it, they could have done that with... Remember, because they lost some of their ships due to fuel loss before.
Yeah, and then the First Order just blows up these ships. I was like, why don't you send shuttles over with prize crews to, capture these ships, secure them, and then check to make sure that A, they're not going to explode. B, more importantly, hey, is there any useful information in here?
Also, though, C, remember we saw the one of them blow up, and there was again, they had evacuated that whole ship, and one guy remained. If that one guy had thought to turn around and turn on hyperspace, an hour earlier, we could have fixed everything. So, none of this adds up. I'm sorry, you guys are breaking up the rule. This is exactly what you'd expect when, a corporation takes over the franchise and throws in stuff that sounds cool without really thinking it out on a narrative level. That's what we're seeing. Okay, so...
The best excuse that I can come up with this is that, and this is taking a lot of liberties.
Yeah.
Hyperdrives have safety measures built into them to make sure that they can't be used in exactly this manner. They check to make sure that there's not something in the path before accelerating or decelerating from hyperspace. So there are hyperspace sensors, but they're just very short range, which possibly could explain the hyperspace radar. It's much larger and thus is able to scan into hyperspace to see where ships are. Admiral Holdo might be force sensitive, but as a technopath.
And that'd be cool.
Yeah. As a technopath, and was able to override the safeties to make it able to do this. And there might be treaties and other stuff that makes it hardwired into the system that would prevent people from doing this. Otherwise, you'd have people just kamikazing Coruscant with an X-Wing, and you'd be, you'd win the war in 30 seconds.
Yeah, that'd be weird. Another good reason why I like the general rule of hyperspace literally doesn't work inside of gravity well. That just automatically turns off the idea of FTL
warhead bombs.
Yeah. Anyway, so she makes a big heroic sacrifice, and I was like, okay, I can see they're trying to do Holdo a little more complicated than we thought. First, we're annoyed that she's in charge, but then it turns out she's a heroic person underneath, but it just wasn't as well as it could be. The remaining. Also, if she had thought to do any of this 3 minutes earlier, she could have saved half the resistance.
Yep.
Okay.
And so the remaining resistance forces go to ground in this underground, not Hoth bunker.
Yeah, the planet's called Crate. I looked it up.
Yep.
And there's some creatures that are kind of made of crystal.
Crystal foxes, which were adorable.
But I remember before the movie came out, there was some media. Oh, the crystal fox will be featured, and ooh, what will be this crystal? Oh, it's just some creatures running around. The end. Really? Couldn't do anything cool with it? It's made of crystal. Okay, so they run around. They see them hiding around in the base because they feel like it. My next bit of objection. Okay, so Finn and Rose were on that ship that got hit, right? The one that
the penis compensator.
Yeah. They wind up in a fight with
a dog
Captain
fight.
Phasma.
Oh, wait, yeah.
And she's apparently dead, but like could come back in the next movie. Maybe she survived. I don't know. Whatever. It was meant to be a big moment for Finn, but we haven't been spending the movie playing with his history as a stormtrooper, his fear of Phasma, his need to overcome that fear, that sort of thing. You were talking about him being a weenie before. Like, this is supposed to be the moment where he's, like, not a weenie and he, like, stands up to somebody. But we hadn't established a good enough connection between him and her, even with episode 7.
Or between the audience and him.
And between the audience and him.
So
he fights her, good for him. And then they get away on some ship or other.
A transport. A shuttle.
Ship.
A shuttle.
Yes, they get on a shuttle, and they fly to Crate. Okay. There's going to be, like, 6 objections in the space of 30 seconds here.
Okay, for starters, how do they know where the base is?
Oh, that too.
7.
Maybe
7.
Maybe Poe had told them on the radio? I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they're flying. Well, yeah, I don't know. There's a difference between knowing the base and knowing the planet. All right, we landed on the wrong side of the planet.
Now planets are big.
Yeah, we'll go through the planet core, apparently, episode 1 style.
Okay, that was... Yeah, okay, Darks and Droids made fun of that, but, still. It was kind of cool in its own way.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely a different, like, locale. It wasn't just, hey, Jakku, which is totally not Tatooine.
Yeah. Of course, then they went to Tatooine, so...
Yeah, I did. What was I saying? They fly down to the planet Crate. And we see the big old Resistance base with the giant metal door at front. And there's Leia, General Leia Organa, standing out front. She can see the spaceships approaching. And she says, they're coming. Close the doors.
Why didn't you have the doors closed immediately?
Number 1, why were the doors not already closed? Number 2, why is General Leia Organa herself manning this door? Shouldn't we get somebody else to be in charge of checking to see if anyone should be closing the door?
Remember the last time you were, like, in a position that was really dangerous and your son shot a torpedo at you?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be able to have the doors closed before the torpedo hit.
You have the commanding officer in literally the most vulnerable spot in the entire base by yourself. There was no one else in camera shot. You also have, instead of a guy with radar or like a pair of binoculars,
or that radar gun, or that scanner gun,
scanner radar gun from episode 4.
Yeah,
we have instead an elderly woman trying to spot ships with the naked eye. Apparently.
Dude, this is a stupid plan. Even I know it.
And then she says...
They could have landed the ship in front of her and she'd be like, no, I can't see any ships yet. Like, princess? Princess!
And then
I hear voices!
And then she says, they're coming, close the doors. And it happens that Rose and Finn get under the door just before it closes and the other guys are locked out. And you think, oh, how did they have such perfect timing? Well, maybe you might have thought, they knew Rose and Finn were coming. They must have radioed ahead and said, close the door at this exact moment, please.
This is the point where the plot will punish you and make you want to wish you were dead.
Because then, as soon as they make their crash landing, everyone in the base starts shooting at them, which means they didn't know who was on that ship, which means they
Ultimately, they knew exactly who was on that ship. Oh, it might be right. Wait, no, it's just Finn. Get him!
Okay.
Finn, do you have the $10 you owe me? No? Oh, come on, that makes more sense than what they do.
And then they just, like, put their hands up, oh, it's us, and like, oh, it's you. Oh, thank goodness. We just happened, by pure coincidence, happened to close the door with perfect timing. And on top of that, neither Rose nor Finn is an ace pilot who you expect would pull off a stunt like that.
And what's worse, they don't check to see, oh, are there like a legion of stormtroopers behind them pointing guns at them and saying, okay, now you say this.
Oh, yeah, that could happen. There could be more people on the ship. You're right. Yeah, no, everyone's like, oh, cool, you're back. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, by the way, thanks for landing in the only landing strip in the base. So now if we want to get out, we're just kind of fucked.
It was just, yeah. There was like, you could just, some of these plots of this movie, you could just feel the authors at work. You're like, oh, we need Miles to show up. Oh, she's a master code breaker all of a sudden, yeah. And now we need Rose and Finn to get there. They'll just pull off a daring stunt. But like, well, they're not ace pilots. Oh, whatever, we're gonna give them ace pilot powers for just this one scene. And etc. etc. I was like, you couldn't be bothered to think this through. Okay, so then the not Empire, makes a stand on not Hoth with their not AT-ATs.
Actually, there were AT-ATs, and then there were like bigger AT-ATs.
Right, yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah.
Which I approve because AT-ATs were cool in their own right, and these are bigger and have bigger guns.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, hey, we're doing a Hoth thing. Like, at least in Rogue One, we were in a freaking tropical paradise.
That was new and different.
It was new, yeah.
And that is why Rogue One is superior to both 7 and 8.
Yeah, I'd say so. So, okay, they're having a standoff now.
And they get ready for trench warfare. Like, I'm just like, Leia, you were at Hoth. You know how that turned out. Badly.
Yeah.
Why are you going with the same tactic that you know didn't work?
Right. And then Finn explains they've got this, basically just a giant laser that's going to blow down the door.
It's Death Star tech that apparently we have to drag across the desert instead of, as I said before, why don't we mount this on a ship and just shoot them from space?
Yeah, no, we're really impractical. So then they fly out.
Oh, and this is actually the stupidest weapon because okay, so they fly out on these really shit speeders. I would have gone like, you know, how bad is the First Order? Have we considered surrendering before I got in that ship? Yeah. Because these things just skimmed the ground, and
yeah, for some reason they all have like one little wire that reaches the ground.
Yeah,
I think they explained that briefly, but I didn't catch it.
Yeah,
and it made this cool pattern with the red showing up under the white, but like at this point, I kind of hated the movie, so I was like, look, red on white. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. It looks like blood. Oh, yeah. And so they do a direct frontal assault against AT-ATs. Because that worked in Hoth. You know, on AT-ATs that weren't 30 years more advanced. With ramshackle speeders that were probably obsolete when Anakin was born.
Right. I think somebody in the creative department was like, hey, this whole neat that the heroes have fewer resources than the bad guys. Let's, like, exaggerate that. And it gets silly at some point. So because in Hoth, like, they had the whole plan with the harpoons and tow cables. Like, they had something that could take down one of these guys. It worked.
Yeah, but no, we're charging directly into about 30 times the numbers they had on... No, like 10 times the numbers they had on Hoth, with 20 times the guns.
And we're just going to shoot them with regular blasters, apparently? There was no plan?
Yeah, this wouldn't work. This doesn't work.
And actually, Poe calls off the attack, which is supposed to be a callback to how before he was too reckless, now he's learned his lesson, which...
No, too little, too late, asshole.
Too little, too late. Yeah, I'd like to see him call off an attack because he's got a better plan or something.
Or maybe because he just put his foot through the cockpit.
Yes. Okay,
once you're capable of dismantling a starfighter with your bare hands, stop using that fighter!
Yeah. So, Finn is like, I'm gonna go do a suicide run against the...
And he doesn't shoot it, he's just gonna ram it.
Yeah, does he not have weapons? That wasn't clear to me.
I think it was damage, actually,
okay.
But then...
Well, first off, he's on his way to do that. He's one of the only targets remaining in the field.
No one's shooting
No one's even trying to shoot him, as I recall. That was weird. There he goes for our most important asset. Yeah, whatever. They don't pay me enough to actually shoot people. Okay.
And then Rose kamikazes hers into Finn's.
Yeah.
And somehow they're both okay from this.
Yeah.
And she says, we have to fight for the things that we love.
Instead of against the things that we hate. And I'm like...
Really? Because I'm pretty sure I hate these guys.
Well, I mean, this is dumb on so many levels. Like, okay, you want to make a big point about that. We have to fight to save those who we love instead of fighting against those we hate. I would get that.
But that's not been the theme of the movie.
No, but you could have done it. You could have done it with, okay, somebody is doing a sort of we have reserves trope among the rebels. Like, taking a lot of losses.
Poe is.
Well, yeah.
That was the whole thing of his character arc.
But Poe doesn't, like... isn't part of that moment there between Rose and Finn.
But here's the problem with that, with what it's said there. We know that stupid heroics like what we saw in the original Star Wars trilogy,
right?
Those don't work. That's been the theme of all of the Rebels' decisions. We're going to launch a heroic thing to knock the incompetent admiral off. Oh, wait, no, that just made us even weaker.
Yeah.
We're going to do this desperate thing to turn off the the radar thing. Oh, that actively killed most of our people. Yeah. We're going to do this run directly into the guns because it's the only hope we have. No, that nearly kills more of the people, so there's only like 10 people left in the entire resistance.
Well, the run into the gun, well, the Finn's part would have worked because for some reason no one was shooting at him. But the one thing that would have worked, Rose has to interrupt that.
Yeah, see, but the problem is the excuse she uses is we have to fight for people we love. No, the excuse is not we need to fight for things we love, not for the reasons of hate or whatever the stupid thing was. It was we need to fight smart, not with emotions. We need to stop throwing away lives pointlessly when we only have less people than I have fingers and toes combined.
Also, as she says, we have to fight to save those we love. Like, in the background of that shot, the laser goes off and blows up the front door of the base.
And this is
do you love those people, Rose? Because there they go. You didn't save them.
I owed all of them money. Okay, so, no, the laser is supposed to be... Well, this is tech that was derived from the Death Star. And it's going to blow open this door. And I'm like, oh my god! This beam is going to carve through the door, and it's going to incinerate everyone inside just from the backblast, and the door will be gone, a portion of the mountain will be gone, and then Kylo will go in with the stormtroopers. It create this thing, which is bigger than the super AT-ATs. Okay, the super AT-ATs, by the way, normal AT-ATs only come up to their hips. So that's how big these super AT-ATs, and they're dragging this thing the size of a city block, and is based on the Death Star's super laser. They fired at this massive door. It creates a hole that you might be able to drive a Mini Cooper through, if you didn't mind losing some of the paint on the sides. My god, the terrible power of this gun.
Like, terrible in the original sense.
Dude, this thing is the size of a city block and is based on the Death Star main gun. That shouldn't have created a Mini Cooper-sized hole. That mountain should be gone! There should be remember when Saitama in One Punch Man punched and just the flow of the air from his punch blasted out like a trench that was wider than a city? And I'm like, that's what that should do! Not... I could do better with a can opener.
I didn't even notice the size of the hole, but I think you're right, come to think of it. Yeah, that was dumb.
That was...
Especially when this whole base is supposed to be, like, outdated and stuff, so it's not like they had the world's best door to begin with.
I mean, and there's salt everywhere, so you've got to figure corrosion. So you have this super shitty door that's, like, okay, looks about the same thickness as my hand from the side with a super corroded door, and the Death Star gun in miniature makes a hole about the size of a compact car.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Nothing makes sense.
Okay, but...
Also, Rose's plan with Finn, again, I could buy that better if she stopped him from kamikazing because she had a better plan to take out the laser that didn't involve Finn getting killed. You know, fight smarter, like you said.
Yes.
I could even buy it if she had a plan, well, buy it a little bit, if she had a plan to not even take out the laser, but just, hey, Finn, you and I will survive. We can't save the rest of them.
Which admittedly wouldn't
pretty
really...
dark, but like...
It wouldn't fit with the rest of her character.
Wouldn't fit with the rest of her character, no. But like, okay, at least you could see that she feels like she's accomplishing something. Her actual plan is to kamikaze Finn, which A, runs the risk of immediately killing both of them, and B, runs the much, much higher risk of all the freaking AT-ATs killing you! Like, Finn, I've saved you now. Do you realize we're surrounded by giant AT-ATs there is literally nothing else in the field? They could step on us.
Oh, aside from all of the regular troopers with guns.
And those guys too. Well, there's no other enemy targets in it. They have like all the time in the world to focus on us. Realistically, she should have been shot halfway through that thing. Saving those, we're both dead now.
Or Kylo just uses the Force to twist their heads.
Yeah. But nobody ever bothers shooting at them.
In fact, they managed to run across the field.
It's like half a mile or something. No one ever shoots them.
Totally white field.
Totally open. No cover.
And it's not like they're blending in or have stealth outfits. This is a field of salt. And they managed to make it all the way to the door before the AT-ATs do.
Oh my god.
Okay, now we should mention like the others. the scene that two scenes that really make the movie great.
Yeah.
First off, after Rey leaves because fuck you, I'm gonna go save my friends.
Oh yeah, we're going back a bit here.
Okay. Luke goes to burn down the tree that apparently was the first Jedi temple ever and contains the sacred writings of the Jedi.
Which I think they should have named rather than calling it the Sacred Jedi Texts that we cannot be bothered to name.
Yeah, admittedly, yeah. And like as he's walking up, you see the back of a head. And it's like, these aren't the natives. This is a very familiar head.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so we're seeing this. He's about to set fire to the tree. And then Yoda comes up.
Yeah.
Yoda, as a Force ghost, summons a lightning storm and destroys the tree. And what we think of the text, but it turns out that Rey took the text earlier on. And then he lectures Luke, saying, "Dude, you've been sitting here feeling sorry for yourself for years and years. You've always been." He gives this "reason you suck" speech, but it's also uplifting.
Yeah.
In that weird way that Yoda can do, like saying, "You are very young and foolish. But that is the weakness of you. You have always been a little on the foolish side, but it is a strength that you must cultivate." Mm-hmm, but done in like the reverse Frank Oz talk stuff. And they did. It's not a CGI thing. They brought back the puppets.
Yeah.
They brought back the puppets.
Yay.
Woo! And it's just so great seeing this because it's like something out of the best Star Wars film, Empire Strikes Back Again, and it's just really nice because it's an actual conversation. And there's not really much we can find wrong with this scene. No!
Yeah, I'm trying.
I will fight you.
And
it's like, oh my god, this is like a legitimate... Someone put a lot of love and attention into this.
Yeah.
And Yoda is just being himself.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the Grandmaster of the Jedi Order. He was the old troll that we met back in the swamp going, "Oh, looking for someone. Found someone you have."
Yeah. Yeah, I did like that. A missed opportunity though but the rest of the movie could have been built up around this theme. They're trying to do something about leaving the past behind and starting anew.
But there's like two ways. There's Rey's way, which she advocates, which is the past is important, we need to remember it, but we can't let it control us. Yeah. And then there's Kylo's, which is blow up everything old.
Yeah, Kylo's kind of like an evil hippie there.
I'm sorry, I was just apologizing mentally to the hippies for associating them with Kylo Ren.
Sorry. Well, distrust of the old. But yeah, I know they're trying to do a theme that I wish they did a better job movie-wise with that. What the more precise differences are here. What Rey needs to learn. If it's important to hang on to the past, then Rey needs to learn something from Luke. And she learns nothing in the end. Nothing. And doesn't learn anything from Leia either. And I don't just mean Force techniques. I mean learning something about philosophy, whatever. He just has a couple lines about how the Force is everywhere or something, but
Okay, he has a pretty funny scene where he goes, "Now reach out." And she has her eyes closed, and she's like, "Reach out. Use the Force. Reach out." She reaches out her hand. He just gives her a look like, "Are you serious?
Yeah.
This is why I stopped teaching." So he grabs a piece of grass. And he starts tickling her hand. He's like, "Oh, I can feel something, Master Luke. I can feel something." He's like, wow, you must be really strong with the Force." And then he smacks her over the back of the head and goes, "Okay, try again."
Funny as that was, Luke has not previously been a troll. That would be more like Yoda's thing, if anybody.
Well, admittedly, he could have learned it from Yoda. I mean, we don't see what he was doing back in the Academy days. This could have been his teaching style.
Tickling everyone with glass all the time. Wow. Grass, yeah.
Not glass.
Sorry, I said it wrong.
And then probably one of the better scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. It's clear that everyone has completely given up hope in the Rebel base with their somehow indestructible shitty door.
Yes.
There's only 15 people left. And then, out of the smoke, someone comes down the stairs. Fucking Luke is back, bitches! Yay. He's on Kyrat? Crate. How does it spell?
Crait.
Damn it! Because there's a creature on Tatooine called the Crate Dragon. It's actually part of Sand People, both religion and stay the fuck away from this thing because it's a fucking dragon.
Oh, cool.
And yet they also have to hunt it because it's, like, sacred and stuff.
You gotta hunt sacred things, sure.
Well, yeah, because they take the pearls from them. Because they have pearls, of course. And Luke's back, and he talks to Leia for, like, the first time in 30 years. And it's like, oh my god, the band's sort of back together. I mean, we don't have Han, but we have C-3PO and R2-D2, and like... Oh, Luke is talking to Leia again, and they're, like, actually talking like family.
Yeah.
And okay, some of the dialogue earlier was a bit stilted, but it feels totally natural between Luke and Leia in this scene.
Yeah.
And, like, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's Luke Skywalker, he's back, he's gonna save us all! Thank you, Space Jesus!
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong there. I mean, technically Anakin Skywalker's Space Jesus because of the Immaculate Conception. Even though there is some evidence from older Legends continuity that suggested that Darth Plagueis was that Anakin Skywalker was actually a project by Darth Plagueis to create a creature that would be susceptible to the dark side, while at the same time fulfilling the prophecy of a child born of the Force. So the Jedi would take a Viper into their den.
I see, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. But
they didn't go that because otherwise, Luke, I am your grandfather, and all this stuff.
Well, no.
Well, no, okay, sorry. No, I was right. I'm thinking of the alternate thing that said Sidious as the guy who was doing that.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, so Luke walks out of the very tiny hole, past all of these people, walks out into clear view of all the AT-ATs. Kylo Ren sees him and decides, fuck him up, boys! All of these guns are blasting at
Finally,
Luke.
they know how to shoot things.
Blasting and shooting. Like, this goes on for a minute before the second in command goes, okay, stop. Stop! He overrides Kylo Ren and is like, dude, stop. Do you think you got him? And that's literally what he says. Do you think you got him? Yeah. Then Luke walks out, just brushes his shirt off. Yeah. Completely unharmed. And Kylo's like, I must face him alone. Which I was like, why don't you keep shooting him?
Yeah.
I mean, you missed him this time, but... And Kylo goes and has a final lightsaber fight-ish thing with Luke.
Yeah, it was cool to see Luke fight again, and he's doing it differently because of the big twist.
Yeah. Eventually, Kylo finally stabs his lightsaber into his chest after Luke has been basically been playing with him this whole time, just dodging it by inches and flipping and basically mocking him the whole time. Stabs Luke through the chest. And then Luke steps out of it. Because Luke has never been here. He's been back on... Octo. The whole time, astral projecting so that everyone thinks that he's there. But it's an illusion. He's like, yeah, I was basically here to, stall for time and distract you. And you fell for it, dumbass. And if you notice, there were actually hints at this. For example, none of the gray was in his hair that we saw earlier on Octo. And if you watch his footwork, anytime Kylo stepped on the ground, he would kick up some sand and reveal some red stuff underneath. But anytime Luke stepped on the ground, nothing. Yeah. He didn't leave any footsteps. So Luke basically sacrifices himself because once he cancels it out, it's revealed that he's sitting in the place where Rey was trying to meditate earlier on Octo. And he falls to the ground. And then he gets up again, and he stares at the suns. And this takes a little too long, but then he fades away. Force Ghost style.
Yeah, we saw the death of Luke Skywalker. I just wish he had died in a better movie. He had a good final scene, but like...
Oh, the final scene kicked it. Okay. Yeah. I still like the film, and it turns out the Millennium Falcon got away with the remaining 15 guys.
Yeah. Wow.
You guys suck.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets so bad that when the rebels finally manage to call for help, no one comes and helps them because they...
Oh, right. God, I forgot that whole plot point. They were like, we have to get to a place that not only is fortified, but has a power source strong enough for us to call our allies in the Outer Rim. And I'm like, who are these allies that you have in the Outer Rim, and why aren't they here already? And why can't you access them with HoloNet or whatever? What are the rules? And they finally get, okay, cool, they have a power source, because I guess they have a super nuclear thingamajig on this super old base, and they call the whole galaxy, and apparently nobody answers. Like, this is canonical. We've called and used Leia's personal code, but, exactly 0 people have picked up the phone. It was like, really? You had to make things that hopeless? And also make the Resistance look stupid for trying this plan in the first place? It's not even like you got some people, but less than you hoped for. Like, literally no one. Like, how about we sent out the call and, okay, we hope someone will respond soon, and then we get distracted, and the hope is that as of episode 9, then the allies show up, and that'd be not... No, literally, explicitly no one. Ugh. So everything was a waste in this movie.
Yeah, everything was... No, I'm not leaving the First Order out on this one. Because let's see what the First Order won. Let's see, you killed about 400 people. Check. Destroyed some ships that were on their last legs and had no fuel. Check. Lost the single largest vessel in the galaxy and its attendant fleet. Check.
Lost the second largest with the Dreadnought.
Yeah, lost a very expensive Dreadnought. Check. And keep in mind, this is like just after the loss of Starkiller Base.
Yeah.
So you lost... I don't even know how many people they lost or how much material they lost in that just... Wow, you lost Starkiller. How many people do you have left, Kylo Ren? You have inherited... You are the guy who was made in charge of Rome as the Visigoths were marching on the Imperial Palace. And everything is on fire. You have inherited a kingdom of rust. You've been made the king of a broken empire.
That'd be interesting if they played that theme, but I bet you they're not going to. Episode 9 will come out and you have like, oh, it's Star Killer Super Base. It's even bigger now, you guys. We ran out of ideas a while ago.
And then at the end of the film, they show those stable kids telling stories about how Luke Skywalker basically tanked all of the laser beams and then made Kylo Ren look like a bitch. I'm sorry. That was wrong. Made Kylo Ren look like more of a bitch. And they're playing with their toys. And here's a freeze frame bonus thing that apparently people on the internet noticed that I didn't. One of the kids goes out to look at the stables. He was given the ring that had the Rebel logo on it, and he uses the Force to pull a broom to him.
Yeah, I saw that actually. I
missed that actually. And as he's holding his broom and looking up at the stars, the silhouette of the kid looks like a man with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
It's kind of a neat reversal of the most famous poster of Star Wars Episode 1 where they showed Anakin Skywalker in his little boy form and his shadow is Darth Vader.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cooler than the movie it advertised.
Shut up. Yeah, but just that image is just so iconic. Mm-hmm. And the end scene was good too. You know, it did show that, yeah, there was still hope in the galaxy. There's still people who are going to fight for what's right. Mm-hmm. It's just that everyone is in a shittier place now.
Yeah, particularly because of the actions of our main characters.
Yeah. If none of them got involved in anything, everyone would have been better off.
Yeah, we have a lot more people still alive in the Resistance. And, that's all. That's all that happened.
Admiral Akbar would still be alive.
Well, wait, would he?
Yes.
They were under attack anyway, though. Right?
Yeah. Wait. Maybe.
It's everyone on the transports that got killed because of our heroes.
Oh, yeah, that was bad. Although I'm not 100% certain that they would have gone like, hey, that ship seems to be slowing down. The ship that's passing by that planet isn't doing anything.
You know something? I just realized this. If somebody is going to be the person to do, and again, it doesn't make sense, but suppose they can make it make sense, do the hyperspace ramming scene, let Akbar do that. Isn't he the guy who deserves it?
Yeah.
He's got the cash it with the fans and stuff. But no, he just got, taken.
Sucked into
space. Dropped off the bridge on him. That's the word for it. Yeah.
No, they dropped him off the bridge.
Well, yeah. Either way.
Sucked him out of the bridge.
Right, I'm talking about the trope name.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But I'm nitpicking with you.
Okay. So, look, honestly, my overall opinion is I didn't like it. It should have been better. They keep hinting at broader ideas that aren't properly developed. So much of this plot doesn't make sense, and it bugs me so much, and I don't know why. We've never known why, the two of us. Why, really, like multi-million-dollar films can manage to have giant plot holes in them when you think they could have fixed that at the scripting stage.
Okay, look. Anytime someone says, "Oh, well, we didn't have the budget to fix that," I point them to Wrath of Khan, aka one of the best science fiction films ever made.
Yeah.
That one was a bottle episode. I'm not kidding. Yeah. Most of the action takes place either on the bridge of one ship or on the bridge of the other. Mm-hmm. In fact, they couldn't even get Khan and Shatner in the same place at the same time.
Yeah,
that's why they didn't have a dramatic confrontation between the two.
Well, you mean like the actors' schedules had a problem or something?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow.
They couldn't schedule them properly, so that's why they had them on different ships the entire time.
And they made it feel completely natural, though. You didn't feel like the budget was messing with the story.
Yeah.
But here, the budget is messing with the story in
and
the
we're
reverse.
Not saying
it's like the budget is too high.
And we're not saying that Star Wars films can't do this. We're not saying that Star Trek films are any better. There have been some bad Star Trek films.
Yeah.
But Rogue One shows that it is entirely possible to have films with really strong characterization, good plot points, and stories in general, and able to show off this whole universe.
Yeah, Rogue One was certainly better than this mishmash.
I mean, this had good moments. Really good moments.
Yeah.
And I like the ideas they presented here. And I admit that I definitely say that this is better than Episode 7 at bare minimum.
It's got more unique locales and stuff. Episode 7 felt like a giant rehash of everything.
Episode 7, I took so many points off because, well, it's not even an original film. It's the same film that we've seen before.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not really fair, but I kind of feel like at Episode 7, at least I was meeting new people. And now I'm like, oh, it's these same people. So we got to do something new with them because I already know who they are, and they didn't. Oh yeah, I forgot the whole. Remember when Rose kisses Finn, and you're like, oh, did she have a crush on him or something? Because that was never established. Okay,
I saw that as she has a concussion.
Yeah, that could.
She has a concussion, and she's in a very stressful situation. People are going to be more likely to act on hormones in that situation.
I guess, yeah, but even so, this narratively doesn't work out.
I mean, like, if they wanted to spend more time letting us know these characters and showing how that they could be an effective couple, fine. Show that.
Yeah, they didn't get around to that.
But don't do it when you have an explicit time limit.
Yeah.
Because any attempts at establishing a character for Rose on Gangster Planet, Las Vegas Planet, they don't work because every time that they attempt to establish her doing things, it was like, see, these people are the real scum of the galaxy. You have a thing to do. They take, and they're war prophets. There's only one career in the galaxy that's really grown. Aside from telecommunications or infrastructure and rebuilding after the Galactic Civil War? Or are you saying war profiteering is the only one that's grown? Also, speaking of war profiteering, there's the war thing that you're supposed to be doing. These people are filth, and we lived under them for years before we ran away. And there's a war! There's the giant penis ship! Gonna kill your friends! I can't believe that we're here again. I can't believe you're still here instead of going back inside and finding the OCD slicer.
You could have done a much more interesting movie where you just start off, actually, maybe, with Finn already part of, like, a underground unit or something that's going and looking for the codes they need to break into Star Destroyers and whatever. Mm-hmm. Knowing we have to get it done within a few weeks because they keep, like, getting... they take out more of our ships, so they're going to find important peoples or whatever, and, have time for stories to develop. That would have been one step among many others that we've already highlighted in how to fix things. Yeah, we gotta write some fanfics or whatever that fix everything.
Yeah.
Though in my version of things, I wouldn't even have these main characters. I'd be like, all right, I'm going to start an entirely new bit, and Thrawn is our villain, and we're going to have this other Sith user, and all this other, just different people. Go.
Do it. Do it, bitch.
All right.
God damn it. It's just... There is so much... I want to like this film.
Because it's Star Wars.
I do like this film. I'd say it's at least better than Episode 1.
Ooh, boy. Episode 1.
I mean, like, and I liked episode 1. It's not a good film, but I liked it.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, that we don't want to be in a spot where it's like, it's not good, but I liked it because Star Wars. We're going to be like, hey, this is straight up thoroughly good. All the way. That's what the original movies were like. Though everyone hates Ewoks. But besides that, like, there was so much strength in the storytelling.
I mean, like, I want to like it. I really want to like it. And it has some great moments. The Admiral Holdo's sacrifice. Amazing. The battle against the Red Guard. Great. There was potential in the Kylo Ren and Rey thing. I mean, there's potential. Didn't say it got realized, but potential. Because they had some interesting chemistry together. And I'm not saying romantic chemistry. God, no. I personally don't believe that Kylo Ren has the ability to reproduce.
I feel like I have to apologize to people that actually don't have the ability to reproduce.
No, I mean, he's just such a weenie that he can't have sex.
Anyway.
Look, what I'm saying is Kylo Ren...
All you're saying
No. You need to understand what I'm saying here. Kylo Ren is a weenie.
Okay, fine.
Look, I mean, I should be able to look at a villain and feel intimidated, not wondering when he's going to go to the nearest Juggalo convention. No, not Juggalo. Like Marilyn Manson convention.
I don't know. Okay.
Just like... I don't want to... I looked at Darth Vader and I was like, my God, what he does in his free time must chill the bones of man. I look at Kylo Ren and I see... Crawling in my skin! These wounds they will... Okay, I'm going to stop that before I wear out my voice.
Yeah.
Ow.
Also,
Okay,
apologies to
voice.
actual emos. I don't want to mock people who happen to be going through emotional pain in real life, but this character does not come across as a strong character.
don't mock people who are going through genuine emotional pain.
Thank you.
I make fun of the people who buy into the culture of emotional pain.
We're going to get a whole separate debate there. Point is, this movie had some flaws and we wish they fixed it.
It's a flawed production. It had some great moments. But
Yeah, and it was interesting to see the reviews, actually. The professional reviewers on Rotten Tomatoes gave it like 93%. The audience score was like 55. Like, audience is very split on this. And, yeah, I wonder if those reviews will change come episode 9. Maybe they'll see things more like the audience sees it. Or maybe the episode 9 will be so much better, but I doubt it. It'll probably be in the same mold as the two things that preceded it.
You mean one thing that preceded it? I mean, like two. Two of the movies that preceded it, because technically Rogue One preceded this film.
Right, well, directly preceded it in numerical format.
Okay.
We'll see how that Han Solo movie will be next year.
Oh, yeah, there's a Han Solo movie.
Might be good. No.
What I'm really disappointed about is that with the Legends continuity out there's no World Devastators anymore, which would have been so cool.
What did they do? Devastate Worlds?
They're giant robots, giant robotic machines that aren't mecha.
Okay.
They will descend on a planet and they will start to eat the planet and create either more of themselves or upgrade themselves or make fighters. They're basically mobile factories that devour worlds.
And where did they come from?
Palpatine had them built as new super weapons.
Wow.
Oh my God, the Yuuzhan Vong trilogy series has just a bunch of problems. A lot of people have pointed it out, but one of my favorite scenes is that, well, by the time of the Yuuzhan Vong invasion, the Empire has been relegated to like a cluster of systems in the Outer Rim. And because the Yuuzhan Vong are taking over the galaxy, the New Republic has to get them on their side so that they can fight together. And one of them said, they're at this dinner, and Han is listening to this diplomat with Leia, and this diplomat says, well, honestly, the Yuuzhan Vong would be a much lesser threat under Emperor Palpatine. He would have mobilized his forces at the first sign of a problem, and he would have gotten the problem over with. Han just looks at her and says, no, that's not what Palpatine would have done. What Palpatine would have done is that he would have gotten together all his best scientists and military engineers and studied everything about the Vong. Then he would have created a giant Vong-killing superweapon and packed it with all of the Vong-killing technology he could find and named it something grandiose like Nova Colossus or Nostril of Palpatine. And you know what? it wouldn't have worked. Some hotshot alien pilot would have flown down to it and dropped a bomb down an exposed, unlocked vent, and it would have blown the whole thing sky high. That's what Palpatine would have done. And by the way, the nostril of Palpatine... Yeah, Palpatine had a battle moon called the Eye of Palpatine. That was a thing.
Nice.
Oh my god, it was...
Alright.
That is why I love Legends continuity, because it just had so much history, and they had, like, people working to make sure that this stuff made sense and was in continuity with one another. I mean, mind you, it still had some problems, like, stuff that was made before the prequel series came out, so they got it wrong. For example, there used to be Star Wars comic books, released just after the first film, which showed, for example, Jabba the Hutt being a walrus-faced guy with yellow skin, but was otherwise a bipedal human. Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker being described as separate characters.
Mm-hmm.
Luke fighting a literal demon.
Oh, wow.
That was a thing.
Okay.
It was kind of awesome, actually. There was a separate faction of the Empire led by the Tag Corporation who wanted to unseat Darth Vader as the Emperor's favorite, which actually was pretty cool. And it ended with Luke accidentally killing their leader because Darth Vader cast an illusion over Luke that made him think that the leader of Tag Corporation was Darth Vader, which really helped. It helped that the leader of Tag Corporation had cybernetic eyes because Darth Vader had carved them out. So he'd practice all of his time on lightsaber combat. So he'd be like, and now I'm going to kill him with this same weapon that blinded me.
I see. Very clever.
Yeah.
Didn't work out in the end.
Yeah. Okay, well...
anyway, we're nearing 3 hours now.
Yeah, we're done. Okay. So, I'm Sith King.
I'm Sonic Sense.
Bye.